My brain got fried for a little bit. I saw, I looked over to Discord as I was posting the update that I usually post. I'm like, oh, hey, we're live. And I was like, oh, Nikkei update. And then I was like, oh. For those who don't know, Nikkei is doing an Evangelion collab. And I don't know any of the Evangelion characters' names. I remember there was a girl I liked that really loved Evangelion, so I watched the first 2 episodes with her. It didn't go well. Well, I mean, it went well, but like after the fact, it didn't go well. Also, what the fuck is going on here? I'll have to message you later, buddy. But like I see the name and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's such a long name. There's no like I got that the game's gonna put all of it in. Anyway, sorry, Raging Loop time. So we are back with Raging Loop. We are on another discussion, if I recall correctly. Yeah, okay. So last time we have information that we should not have. I talked about this with somebody who like is never gonna watch this game and is not you're never gonna see it. But they like I even broke it down for them. I was like, hey, you know, there's this like whole chart system sort of thing, and like you unlock keys and everything with more information that you use when you go back in the loops. But like the game doesn't like lock it out of you when you take your first choices. They're like, yeah, it really should. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm saying. But like, all in all, I don't hate it. Like, keep in mind, majority, if I recall correctly, we did get really correct with majority of the keys. Like we already knew Takumi and Kyonosuke or Nosato. I'm bad with names right now. It's been a long day, sorry. But Nosato and Takumi both were innocents. Like we knew that. We knew that Mamiya was going to be a wolf. I think the only thing that was like a little thrown off was Mochi being a wolf, but like it makes sense. Who else did we investigate? I think Haru is innocent. Well, Haru's dead. So don't have too much information on that. Anyway, so I'm really excited to continue. So my goal today, so we have a lot going on. I am hoping that we can finish this next ending within 3 hours. Don't know the specifics. Obviously we still have, so like Mochi is, y'all can't see my cursor, but like it makes sense for this game. So like, we know that Yasunaga, old man guy over here, I can't remember his name, Takumi, Nosato, all 4 of them are innocent. We're innocent as well. We know that Mochi, who's the girl, who's wearing the girl outfit, up top, is a wolf. So that just leaves old man Yoshitsugu, excuse me, mom that I can't remember her name, Chiemi, Rikako, and Meiko. I would say that the mom would be the other werewolf. I would think like one of those 3 would be, but we'll see. But yeah, the main goal is going to be finishing this specific run through. If it takes an hour, if it takes 3 hours, that's the goal. I'm hoping it doesn't take more than 3 hours because I have more I want to do today. Today has been a very long day. In fact, if I do everything that I want to do today, I'm going to be awake for 22 hours, which is not the greatest idea I think I've ever had, but I want to make up for yesterday and I want to make up for Tuesday, especially because there was a lot going on. So, yeah. Anyway, everyone drink? Yes. All right, we're starting the feast. So right now we need to get Mochi killed. But I don't know how. Haru was killed by the wolves last night. Her body's still in her room. We won't let her death go to waste. We'll find the wolves in this hell. It might even happen today. There was whispering. The people wondered if that was really possible. Takumi, I'd love to do that too, but what are you planning? Can't say that yet. Good move. I hadn't explained my intentions to him yet, but he had a vague idea of what I was planning. The key word was fixed majority. If you understood that clearly, we would have a chance at winning. Think before... Kanzo, that's his name. Think we believe ya if you don't tell? After all that happened today, I kind of worried Kanzo-san wouldn't say anything, but that wasn't what happened. He also wanted to give his all to end this feast with a victory. That was why he couldn't just stay quiet and let us all die. He continued pushing a strong approach to the feast, denying other ideas. Yeah, I can't say that. That might change, though. By the way, what were you planning to do today? Hang everyone who voted for Teba? I knew it. I could hear whispers of perplexion and fear. His targets today would be the 4 who voted for Tae-san yesterday and didn't die last night. Basically, the old wolf guy, Yoshitsugu-kun, Rikaku-san, and Mako. Hold on, why? I'm changing his voice constantly. Sorry, my voice has been crazy. Journalist was a wolf. How do you know? Because her corpse was outside. Usanaga-kun seemed to have recovered a little and was now doing what he had to again. Good job, Yasunaga. In the feast, you're supposed to get 1 death per day and 1 per night. The fact that 2 died in 1 night means that something unusual happened. Haru-chan was dead in her own room because she was visited by the wolves. Mamiya-san's body was outside her room, and judging by its state, she was probably taken by the corruption. Haru-chan was in a bad state too. I know, but her case was still something that could have been done by humans. Mamiya-san's was on a whole other level. What about it? She just walked around at night, didn't she? Yeah, exactly. Then why would she be a wolf? Wasn't it the old hag? That's because... Wait, Yasu, let me say it. Okay. The woman was acting weird all day. The old man said he'd hang her, so I can't say I don't get her. What would happen if her death was all but certain? An outsider would try to escape Yasumizu, right? She thinks she could run away. But the lady didn't do it. Yeah, she hadn't even tried to run. What of it? If you're running away, it's better to do it during the day. Even with the mist, you can see stuff better in the light. You can't see anything at night. There's really no reason not to run away during the day. The mist would hide her and let her escape without us realizing it. If she'd run away yesterday, after we all split up in the evening, she could have gotten to the very edge of Yasumizu, but that's not where she succumbed to the corruption. Maybe she had some other reason for going out at night? About that, anyone else but me here try to stay awake at night? The question came out of left field, but Yasunaga-kun, Shimi, Yoshitsugu-kun, and I raised our hands. Interesting. Didn't you say you stopped? We ain't talking about going outside, are we? I took a stick to my futon in case someone came for me. You went against the law of dreaming. Yeah, just 2 nights ago, like Yoshi. I grabbed a weapon and waited for something to come, but I still ended up falling asleep. Can you believe that? This whole thing is such a crisis. You shouldn't be able to fall asleep at all, yet before you know it, you wake up in this morning. It's not that you're not allowed to stay up late. You just can't. It's one of the things that freaks me out about the beast. You should never try to stay awake. Only the wolves can move around at night. That's because she was an outsider. His voice is whatever. Outsider or not, the feast is above all of us. If being an outsider was an excuse, the journalists wouldn't have fallen victim to the corruption. I had the mysterious experience of being spared by hiding in a toilet, but I had no choice but to stay quiet this time. Hashimoto-san, the large cameraman died by going out at night, didn't he? I don't know much about that, but if I gotta guess, he died because he wasn't sheltered properly. Cleanse, shelter, as long as you have those 2 covered, you'll definitely fall asleep. But if you stayed outside right from the start, it's just an assumption now. Yeah, it is. You can ignore it if you want. But if the woman was a human, she'd have no reason to risk going outside. She's a wolf who was walking around at night, messed up somehow, and got punished for it. That's the only possible explanation. Yasunaga-kun and Yoshitsugu-kun both fell silent. They couldn't argue against that anymore. Sure, it was strange how we just somehow fall asleep, but there were cases of people going out at night, both this and the previous time. I'd have to think about it some more later. Did you know that too, Makishima-san? Harry, that's right. Only 2 kinds of people go out at night. Wolves and humans who die like dogs trying to kill the wolves. With how important the dreaming law was to the locals, it was natural for them to assume that anyone who went out at night was a wolf. When you looked at it like that, Yoshitsugu-kun, who insisted on going out, was extremely reckless. That's why Hisako Mamiya was a wolf, so Bachan, who she set up as a wolf, was clearly a human. Ain't it possible that both of them were wolves? I felt for him. It was his vote that killed Tae-san, even if he was prepared for it. It was hard to justify. That's not impossible, but extremely unlikely. No, it isn't. Yamawaki-san, who he hanged yesterday, was a human. Ah, she's the crow! Let's go! We got the crow! So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And a wolf. Which means that's just... So it's one of the other 5. It could be Rikako. Oh, if it's Rikako, that's gonna suck. I was wrong. Sorry for keeping it a secret so far, but I am the crow. What? What? Seriously? I shall take responsibility for my son's rudeness and his vote that killed Yamawaki-san. I'm ready to take all the blame you give him, especially from Takumi-san, who loved Yamawaki-san like a mother. So please, don't punish him. Her voice was sincere and sorrowful. She put her hands in front of her and placed her forehead on the floor. Stop! Hey, I'm the one who voted. You had nothing to do with that. Oh, that's probably how I looked yesterday. Takumi, Don't worry, I know. Kaori-san, Yoshi. We ain't talking about who's to blame for Bachan's hanging. But... No buts. No one said it was a mistake back then, so we're all to blame here. The ones that killed her are more like something to help us decide what to do, not some sins that get the noose around your neck. Isn't that right, Yasunaga? Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Are you sure, though? I won't forgive the wolves whoever got them to kill. I'm with the old man on that. Kanzo-san slightly opened his eyes, looking surprised to come up, but then looked away with humph. Something bothering me. Can I say it to Kamini? Yeah, of course. Do we have anyone else coming to be the crow? Yasunaga. I know, I want to believe, but this is what's expected of me here. Do we have any other crows besides Kaori or Ribe? Naki, damn! Yoshitsugu, silence. Learn from his example. Yasakun. I felt like the power balance here in Yasumiza was shifting. She's totally right. Because if she's lying, that's insane. Hanzo-san was losing his influence, and Takumi-san's authority bridged the generations. That amplified Yasunaga-kun's voice, putting him back at the front. However, this was a temporary thing that could only last when Kanzo-san's high-handedness was failing. It could be turned around if someone messed up, or was hanged today and drove someone else over the edge. I'll say this just in case, but if you're real, and you're keeping your silence, you're being nothing but a burden to us. If you know Kaori Oribe is a fake and stay silent despite that, you won't be recognized as real if you decide to claim so later, understand? Those words felt like they were directed at me too. Scary. Looks like we have no one. Wait, we have no one come out against Mamiya's claim that she was the snake and she turned out to be a wolf, didn't she? And now we have a whole 3 less people than yesterday. Isn't it a bit too early to decide she is real just because no one is revealing themselves now? Yes, you're right, but the possibility that Teiba and Mamiya-san were the crow is extremely low. Exactly, Tei-san would have revealed that before she was hanged, while Mamiya-san wouldn't have had a reason to pretend to be the snake to begin with. There's nothing that says Haru-chan wasn't the crow, but I know that she was absolutely terrible at lying and keeping secrets. She didn't act like she was hiding a guardian, and we were together most of the time. I'm confident that I would have noticed any signs that implied she was the crow. The possibility that Kaori Oribe is a wolf who realized that Haru-chan was the crow before I did and killed her to take her spot is pretty much zero. There's also the possibility that Haru-chan hid her role until the end, and the wolves just happened to hit the crow by killing her, but that's unlikely too. You know, she's probably also not the spider. None of those who died were the crow. Can you agree to that? Your proof that Haru Makishima wasn't the crow is thin and circumstantial. You weren't the only one close to her, were you? What if a wolf that was also close to her realized she had a guardian and told Kaori Oribe? You can't deny that possibility, can you? Tsunaga-kun kept his eyes straight. To me, it seemed like it was a way of preventing those doubts from taking root. Wait, did you just suspect me? No way, Mochi would never kill Haru-chan. He did. He 1000% did. I wouldn't be so certain, Chiani. And I don't believe he did it either. What's your proof? What a strange silence. It didn't look like he had nothing to say, more that it was hard for him to say it. Come on, you said it yourself, Uncle. I'm an eccentric. I can't understand how others feel. I was with Haru-chan and Yasun because they don't mind no matter what I do. All I know is that they're good guys. I don't even care about anything else. You should say it too, Yasun. Tell them that's what I'm like. I wouldn't say so. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that Haru-chan was the crow and got killed because of it. I think the crow is still alive and it's her. Yes, I am the crow. I see. Very well, even I understand I'm pushing it with the theory, so I shall keep myself to myself a bit. However, since we can say the same about the snake as well, that means the real one is still alive, right? He was right. That was the right way to look at it, and it was true. Let's put aside the reason why he or she didn't say anything when the fake came out. Is there a guarantee that the same thing isn't happening again? What if another fake's shown up and the real one's keeping their silence just like yesterday? Yeah, pushing it again. No way she's lying. If the journal was a wolf, then the old hag was human, damn it. Even a fake has no reason to lie. If the goal was to make people trust you, it's best to speak the truth. Even if another crow shows up today, they could only tell us the truth we already know. That Tai Yamawaki was human. And we would have no way to tell whether Lady Oribe and the other one was the real crow. His assertion was a bit cynical, but accurate. If he was the modest and cautious one, he would be way more valuable to the humans. I must object to that. After all, Mamiya-san was a wolf who wanted to use the Guardian to survive. However, Kaori Oribe revealed her Guardian while begging to take all the blame for Yoshitsugu Oribe. It's neither wise nor right, but I believe it's the real her talking, not the cunning of a wolf. The foolishness proves it, you say. What is my reason for believing Kaori Oribe? Higuchi's wife's gonna protect Yoshi even if he's a wolf. My heart skipped a beat. Kanzo-san's voice was like a rumble, and just like before, it was dense with gloominess and anger. He had a point too. If it were for her son, Kaori-san was capable of breaking the feast's mental shackles. You old fart. He's not that type of guy. He spoke forcefully. If he was a wolf, he'd declare it and go around killing us directly. That's just how he is. He's like our parents, straightforward, stubborn, won't accept anyone that doesn't sit right with him, not even God. If he had to die to prove Kaori Oribe innocent, he'd surely do it. That's not something that I, the only slight coward in the family, can do. Yoshitsugu is a human. Hey! Yoshitsugu-kun rose to his feet and held his brother. Don't act like you know shit. If you spent more time with Mom, I do know. My cunning comes from my Higuchi blood. Mom has no reason to love me. She loves you way more. That's why I'm working hard and studying, so I can pay her back with money and other things. You should be more grateful that she loves you just because you were born honest, Yoshitsugu. Why are you bringing yourself down so much? Aniki, listen up. Quiet, you two. The mother's voice quickly silenced her son's. Why are you fighting over such nonsense at a time like this? Kanzo, Makishima-san. The old man grunted in response to the mention of his name. I heard that when my late husband, Sadayoshi Higuchi, died, there was a mist in Yasumizu. Did he die in a feast? Did you kill him? He got killed by the wolves on the first day. Damn! Well, that sucks. Old man, I've been 2 feasts. Only this old fart and I survived. The old man, he cried, wolf, Kanzo. 2 feasts, though. It's fucking crazy. Past. What about it? Nothing. Even if you were the one who killed him, it was because of the feast. But know this, Yasunaga, Yoshitsugu. I don't want to lose my family to the feast ever again. So please, work together. You're brothers, aren't you? I didn't say I have anything against that. Me neither. Hey, sorry to bother you, but this really ain't the time for a family feud. The fact that the old man's been in a feast doesn't matter much, right now anyway. Kanzo-san clicked his tongue. Believe the Oribes. Yasu's the monkey, while Yoshi and Kaori aren't the type to lie. That makes it all but clear that Teiba-chan and Haru were humans, while the journal lady was a wolf. We have 2 more wolves and 10 humans here. Out of them, the old man and Yasu are confirmed to be monkeys, and it's likely that Kaori-san is a crow. I trust Yoshi too, but it's not like we have any proof he's human, so I won't add him here. Fine by me. Now, how do we proceed? If the still living, real snake has the right info, this feast might be as good as over. If it was, what do you mean? If the snake reveals themselves and states that 2 more of us are human, there'd be 6 confirmed humans, meaning we would have half of the votes. With those 6 being confirmed, it would unlikely that the rest of us would vote for the same person, meaning that victory would be as good as ours. Fixed majority. Exactly. We would hang one of the 6 unknown, while the wolves would kill one of the 6 confirmed humans. The primary target would be the snake, but it's likely that the spider is still alive. If he or she protects the snake tonight, we would have 1 less confirmed human and 1 less unknown, and get another confirmed human or wolf tomorrow. It would either become 6 humans and 4 unknown, or 5 humans, 4 unknown, and 1 wolf. The confirmed humans would become a majority regardless. This number couldn't be turned around, so we would most certainly win. The snake's gonna find 2 humans? Even if he does find a wolf, we'll only have 5 confirmed humans. In that case, even if we hang the wolf, we'll still be left with 4 confirmed humans and 6 unknown. The human's victory wouldn't be ensured. Of course, hanging a wolf would give us a great advantage, and if the snake comes out, the wolves wouldn't quiet either. Personally, I won't promise that I will certainly kill whoever reveals themselves. The snake's reveal could help bring certain things into the open. That was the opposite of Kanzo-san's approach. The old man clicked his tongue and some squirmed uncomfortably. But if the snake only looked into those who died, like Kaori-chan, Yamawaki-san, and Mamiya-san, you see should stay quiet. If that isn't the case, I would like the snake to reveal him or herself. I had to think. Was the info I had enough? I couldn't tell them that I used my looping together info. That was why I can only reveal 2 results, 1 for yesterday, 1 for today. I already told Takumi-san that I checked and confirmed that he was human. Thus, it was important for me to reveal that along with someone whose identity would help us. If I continue my silence, they might begin to believe that the snake wasn't fulfilling his duties properly. This was a do-or-die situation. Well, we know the answer. So we know that we have to reveal Takumi and Kyonosuke. Okay, so that makes sense. So the right answer is revealing Takumi and Kyonosuke are humans, but let's reveal nothing. No, not yet. I didn't have enough evidence to secure the fixed majority. All I confirmed through my investigations as the snake up to today was that Takumi-san was a human. That was all the information I could offer. Like Yasunaga-kun had said, this was a situation where the reward for revealing her had a guardian didn't match the risk. I hadn't even predicted Kaori-san would reveal she had a guardian. I thought it happened a little bit after we secured the fixed majority. It seems the snake still lacks decisive proof. Takumi-san shot me a glance. At first I looked confused or somewhat annoyed that I wasn't saying anything, but it seemed he soon caught on. It's still too early. Perhaps the snake truly is dead. That should be the case, but we can't be sure. Let's think about this. In the end, no one else revealed themselves to have a guardian, and we reached a stalemate. With Kaori-san's reveal, we now had 3 confirmed humans. Then again, I couldn't be completely sure she was telling the truth. I knew that Takumi-san and I were humans, but even when you included us, damn it, it wasn't enough, and I didn't have any more clues. Enough. Let's vote already. Is there anyone else who could do something? Though Kanzo-san's word wasn't final, without a valid plan hammered out, a melee couldn't be avoided in the end. Oh, yes, you! Just like the first day the old wolf guy voted for me. I'm voting for you. 2 votes. Guess that wasn't surprising. The clash between Mamiya-san and Teiya-san may have temporarily distracted him, but he's always been suspicious of me. I'm going with Mako again. Though I'd managed to change things by cooperating with Takumi-san, this wasn't good. I'll vote for Imatsu-san. I'll vote for the Mako girl. Mako and I now at 2 votes each. Or the old wolf guy. And I'm going with Hassan. Crap, no, I was in the lead. I'm going with Fusashi too. Don't think I've forgotten how you said all that crap and ran off on the first day. 4 votes, not good. I'll vote for Mako-chan. I shall vote for the Yasumizu elder. Mako 3 votes, while the old wolf guy had 2. At this rate, all I could do was... Mako-chan. Looks like you and me are gonna die soon. It all rides on your shoulders. Hey, you can't tell her stuff. That's against the rules. No, it isn't. Mako-chan, first come up with a way not to die, and think about what you want to be useful to. Even if it's not in the rules, you can't approve of trying to forcibly sway a child's opinion. But... Wait, we can't let ourselves get swayed by the whims of a kid. Mako, if you do not vote for the Yasumizu elder, that man will die. You bitch. Then I'll vote for him. Yoshi-kun, don't bother. Mako-chan's in a pretty tight spot herself. But, Chini... I'll vote for the old wolf man. Then it's a final vote. Thus everyone else voted on whether to hang the wolf guy or I. In the end, the vote was 4-6, and I was chosen. We died! I was in the funeral procession of the prayer of the Shinai. As the hapless lynch victim this time. I couldn't say the scenario had never crossed my mind, but it was still unexpected. The final vote should have been in my favor. I thought I could count on Takumi-san, Kori-san, Kyonosuke, Shi, and Chiemi, the 4 who voted for Mako and Rikaku-san. When the results came in, all of them except for Takumi-san had voted for me. None of them looked me in the eye. I didn't bother snapping back at them either. Now I understood. If I kept quiet, even those I was close with would doubt me. That was just how suspect my conduct on the first day had been. That was just how impossible Hurdle Kanzo-san's request for me to die had been. I didn't like it, but all I could do to think about was how to survive next time. I am sorry. I truly am sorry, Haruaki-sama. Hey, you got nothing to apologize for. Hanging the feast is supposed to lead to salvation, right? Then I'm happy. Don't you remember? I originally came here to die. You are not supposed to die here. Why did you not flee? The way she said that in a voice only I could hear was so different from her normal self that I was startled. Rikako-san? I am sorry. Rikako-san, this way. No, please, let me push him. I'd be honored, Rikaku Imatsu-san. Araki-san! Jimmy looked at me with a teary visage. I'm sorry I didn't trust you until the end. Kitty, you don't need to apologize for anything. I'm sorry. It's all from the previous loop. She's remembering. It's alright, Chiemi-chan. I won't hold a grudge. Honestly, I'm definitely be irritated about having to return to the start all over again. Still, I decided to play the good guy this time around. With this hanging, I feel like I finally become a member of Yasumizu. Don't be a dumbass. I could hear guilt in his voice. Are we really okay with this? Are we really gonna just die without saying a word? Yes, I am. Not like that word would do me any good. You wouldn't believe me if I revealed my guardian now. Besides, if I died, none of this would have ever happened. Lynching would have terrified me if I didn't think of it that way. Death abruptly handed to you was slightly different from death in a fight you'd accepted. Multiple people's malice and apathy denied my existence by judging me less important than others, and so consensus of those emotions sentenced me to death. With creatures known as humans who survived through their balance, that despair surpassed that of simply being killed. I was experiencing such an easily imaginable scenario myself at that moment. Get it over with. Hurry up! Sorry, Hassan! You guys. Rikaku-san lowered her head. Rise not. I muttered feebly. Rise not. Don't come back. As a Yomibido and our enemy, don't come back. He pushed me weakly with the force of a gentle breeze. I fell backwards, soared through the air, and fell. With a sudden impact, my consciousness faded into a void not unlike the dense mist surrounding me. We died! Game over. Number 16. Watch the hint corner. Dude, I feel like all the endings are just out of loop. You're done it now, Chief, but this was a hard one. Was anyone able to avoid it? Time for your hint. Chin up. I have the fucking way to avoid it, and I want to do other things. Bad ending 16. Information's deficiency death. If this was the only choice I could make, that means all the people investigating got keys from are dead. Right, that's what's important here. By investigating someone in the feast, the power of the snake, Haraki Fusashi, obtains that information as keys. However, there is some truth of the XXX keys that have nothing to do with advancing the story. In this case, having 2 keys from the dead proved to be pointless. Of course, it's not pointless if you're aiming to get all the keys, but you need to find useful keys to progress here. To get keys, you'll first have to, If you already have the keys, just go back to that. That's all for today. Yeah. Cool. Die another hearty death! No! Time to go back to my chart! So we're going to reveal Chikavochi. Because once again, that's the wrong decision because we will die. So we reveal Chikavochi as a wolf, and then that's it. I had the evidence to reveal myself. I had a safety plan all set up. However, I also knew it was a ticking time bomb that would likely throw things into chaos. Still, I already made up my mind, so I couldn't hesitate. Yes, everyone looked to me when I raised my hand. I was nervous, but now that I'd spoken up, all that was left was to go with the flow. I, Haruaki Fusashi, am the snake. I informed them without hesitation. I investigated Takumi Muro-san and Chikamochi Kamoshida-kun. Takumi Muro-san is a human, and Chikamochi Kamoshida-kun is a wolf. What was that? Mochi's a wolf. Everyone felt silent for a moment. Naturally, there was much commotion and chaos over my sudden announcement. Oh, wait, Chikamochi's a wolf? That's not impossible, but why did you investigate him? Yeah, besides, didn't you already say you didn't have a guardian? I didn't say anything back then because there was a high probability I would have been killed if I revealed myself. Obviously, I knew Mamiya-san was lying about being the snake, but none of you would have had any idea. If we both survived, the spider wouldn't know which of us to protect, so I couldn't guarantee my safety. If I had said something, the wolves would have the perfect opportunity to find and kill the real snake. Oh, I see. Take this seriously, Mochi. Don't you get it? You're being accused of being the wolf. That's true. It's probably because I already know I'm not a wolf. Which means Hassan would be the real wolf here, yes. I suppose that idea makes sense, but if Mamiya-san was a wolf, would another wolf really try to play the snake again? So I don't know if the journal lady was a wolf. Hanzo-san tried fighting back. You can't tell with these city folk, whether she was a wolf or whatever. Maybe she went out wanting to die. Should I take that as a sign of support from Chikamochi Kamoshida? The silence was not primarily out of doubt from me, but just the same old habit of his. I believe I was asked why I looked into him. The reason is because he wasn't acting like himself. He's normally sharper than this, and not the type who keeps quiet about his ideas. Yet this time he's chosen his words quite carefully, almost like he's saying he can't act on his intuition. You talk like you've seen me do that before. See, this was exactly the part of him that scared me. That was merely my opinion, the observation that led me to investigate you, that's all. Please don't read too deeply into it. Well, if you've known about us for a while, maybe you're a spy or something sent by the village. There's also your odd tendency to be aggressive toward just me that caused me to suspect you, like just now. I took a peek at everyone's faces. Yasunaga-kun was staring at the ground, lost in thought. Takumi-san was bewildered, as he should be. Musashi, are you saying Chikamochi killed Haru? Kanzo-san's eyes widened. Apparently he finally understood that a suspected wolf could be the one who killed his granddaughter. Yes, that would be the case, and that is most definitely the case. However, this is not good. As if I care about Haru-chan and Yasu more than anything else. Sorry to reach on to the others, but I really don't care about Shina-san, the rules or the feast. So how can someone like that kill Haru-chan? If you truly are mad, then you have motive enough. After all, mad people can treasure their loved ones whether they're alive or dead. It makes no difference to them. True. Get it up, Mochi. Did you really? This is a pain. Hey, Hassan, I'm no good with this kind of stuff, so go a little easy on me, will you? Sorry, but I can't let my guard down around you. I've learned well over the past few days that your brain is on a different wavelength from everyone else's. Yasukun, don't we have any proof that Mochi didn't do it? You should have already realized it, but no, I don't. Don't you have anything, Mochi? Sorry, I didn't plan that far ahead. But do you really want to suspect me? Mochi-kun does seem to be acting the same as always. Even if he was given the role of wolf, I could easily see him maintaining his presence of mind. And his stance is essentially to not think for himself. He's just followed Yasunaga-kun and voted for Nosato-san each time so far. Fortunately for him, his disposition wasn't suspected, but I actually think it was a pretty cunning way to act. As long as someone Yasunaga-kun didn't want to view as an enemy was a wolf, that wolf could stay safe by following his lead. Yasunaga-kun is a monkey, and therefore definitely human. To leave the vote to him is the same thing as having a wolf give up their vote entirely. But if Chikamochi Kamoshida were to stay that way only to suddenly vote for someone else, we'd just dismiss it as him acting on a whim. In the end, he was in a position where he could vote freely without attracting suspicion. We are hella smart! Good job, Haruaki! Yeah, you're relentless! I don't really have anything to say, so staying quiet makes me look fishy. That's just the Feast of the Omi Purge. Why not just hang me? Mochi, please, say something. Anything. Tell us you're not a wolf. I'm not a wolf. Look at me. Oh, come on, Yasun. You know I'm not the type who looks others in the eyes when talking. I don't even look at other people, he said with a smile. The vote was held afterwards. Yasunaga-kun abstained from voting. Chimi, Kira-san, Kanzo-san, Mochi all voted for me, while the rest voted for Mochi, sealing his fate. Hey, Yasun, don't cry. I'm sorry, Mochi. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. Hey, no need to be sorry. I've done some bad things. What does that mean? I'm not a wolf. I just didn't have what it took to beat Hassan. Don't leave me. Without your Haru-chan, I'll be all alone. You got Mami Curry and Yoshi, don't you? When it comes to them, No, forget it. What, you want to kiss or something? Cut it out, idiot. Sorry. These are my last moments. I still don't know what to do in times like these. Okay, do it, Yasun. Rise not. Rise not. Yasunaga-kun pushed forward. Chikamochi Kamoshida fell into the mist, and the rope went taut. Mochi. Mochi is dead. Everyone stood there frozen in place while I headed for the plaza. I felt sick. Hey, Fusashi. Takumi-san caught up with me. He really was a wolf, wasn't he? No doubt about it. But, yes, he died as a human at the very end. I kept getting the urge to tell him to quit playing the victim and glorifying this. I wanted to tell Yasunaga-kun that this was the guy who killed the girl who was like his own sister and smiled like nothing was wrong. But what good would that have done me? I'd probably be Mamiya-san all over again. The shock Yasunaga-kun will feel when all is revealed will be unfathomable. But there's nothing else I could do. Sounds like you're really fretting over this. Sorry. Don't be. I'm a member of Yasumizu too. I'll fulfill my duties as the snake while bearing the responsibility of Mochi's death to the very end. Thanks. It was good I got Takumi-san on my side, but as a whole I didn't feel like any of this had gone well. It left a really bad taste in my mouth. After that I lost my job at the kitchen. Well, I hadn't exactly lost it, but since Kaori-san had voted for me, I was restraining myself. Yoshitsugu took over the work while I secluded myself in my hut. It was Takumi-san who suggested it. He said it was best I watched out for any potential attacks now that it was out I was a snake. He also took over testing the food for poison. Remember what he said? The spider's still alive. I said that he should protect you. If you're telling the truth, then there's just one wolf left. I want to settle this as quickly as possible. So I told him I'd do everything I could. Unfortunately, the spider's not going to protect us. It felt like Takumi-san and I had grown rather close, and no, not in the way that would make BL fangirls squeal with joy. Funny. I gratefully took my food and was happy to get away from the melancholy atmosphere that lingered after Mochi's death. Takumi-san was right, just one wolf was left, and from my point of view, I had 4, no 5, candidates left. One day may not have been enough to corner them. Did I have any ways to ensure I could end it tomorrow? No, this was a problem. For now, I'd investigate who I consider the most suspect. As long as the spider protected me, the rest would be a war of attrition. In that case, I had to aim to end it tomorrow. However, I never woke up after that night. Why? What happened to me? I didn't even know. I felt not even the slightest bit of pain or suffering in my deep slumber, but like the dense mist outside, my sleep appeared to have engulfed everything and become a shroud not of this world. Did the spider not protect me? In the end, the loser wasn't even allowed to entertain that thought. Game over! We died because the spider didn't protect us. Who the fuck is the spider? You've done it now, eh, Chief? But what was up with this one? That was a rather mysterious bad ending, so I'll give you a precious counter strategy. Bad ending number 17, Mysterious Mochi hang death. Honestly, I don't know what happened. Not yet, anyway. What I can say is that it didn't seem like you were killed by a wolf. The spider should have been protecting you and all. It'll be a while until this mystery is solved, so try a different choice for now. Oh, the choice is locked? You don't have key 11? Then go investigate. If you got the keys, then go back there and pick the right choice. Honestly, this one might be the biggest roadblock in Raging Loot. So don't worry if you got it. Just press on. Interesting. Die a hearty death next time. What? The wolf didn't kill us? What happened? So for killing Chikamochi, somebody else killed us? All right, let's figure this out. Takumi and Kiyonosuke was a human. For the one still alive, I declare that Kiyonosuke Satoshi was a human. With me, him, and Takumi-san, we would have 3 more confirmed humans, completing the fixed majority Yasunaga-kun talked about. For that, I had to believe that Kaori-san was the crow, but that seemed reasonable to me. After a bit of hesitation, I made my decision. I had to hurry. What up, Crow? Do you think I would like this game? Absolutely. It's a great visual novel. The wolves must have been conflicted right now. They had to be considering whether they could start faking before I spoke up. I had to declare it. Yes, my voice sounded stupid. I raised my hand. Everyone looked at me. I was even more tense than I imagined. However, now that I had spoken up, my hesitation was gone. I, Haruaki Fusashi, am the snake. I'm gonna see if I got the room for it. Nice. I made that as clear as possible. I investigated Kiyonosuke no Sato-san and Takumi Muro-san. They're both humans. The reaction was strangely calm. There you go. It goes without saying, but I'm admitting that I'm a human. I'm here. Why did you keep quiet about this until now? Like Yasunaga-kun said, completing the fixed majority requires 6 people. Normally I would have needed to use my guardian once more. But then Mom suddenly revealed yourself to be all but certainly a human, prompting you to act ahead of schedule, right? Yes, I do apologize for staying silent until now. People have died as a result. However, when Mamiya-san's declaration was such an obvious trap, I could no longer announce my role. I then gave them a mostly accurate summary of my intentions, similar to the one I gave to Takumi-san. That's why he said those things in the first day. Yes, I mistimed some things, though, so I probably sound a bit fishy. Anyway, that's all from me for now. Do you accept that, Kanzo-san? We still left the final call to Kanzo Makishimashi. It was actually a good thing it was still like that. Though some people resisted him, he was well respected here. A split here could destroy the fixed majority. You said something yesterday, didn't you? Something about having no special powers. I knew he would go there. Like I just said, I couldn't reveal my identity until now. Why? What do you mean? I ain't planning on dying. I'm sure I told you that I couldn't die. That was because I still had to fulfill my role as a snake. Gang liars. Feast rules. I didn't lie. Yasun, why do liars get the news? Humans search for the wolves under the assumption that humans don't lie, because it's something that wolves definitely do. Exactly. It was wise to create a situation where exposed lies could lead to the discovery of the wolves, and lying humans are harmful to humans. And that's why I said I didn't have any special powers, rather than I didn't have a guardian. After all, I don't have any superpowers, do I? Yes, that's what I thought when I heard that. I figured your roundabout phrasing was implying something. I can't believe that. He's an outsider. We don't know what he is, and he lied. Said that Kyo and I are humans. Wolves could do that too. I wasn't wrong there. If I was a wolf and got comfortable on the human side like I was trying to do now, the humans would be as good as dead. After all, I could investigate the other wolf and just say they were human, adding them to the confirmed human count. If I did that, in a few days, we'd get in a situation where all the suspicious people were gone, while the feast was still going on. This was a waste of time difficult to recover from. In a sense, the fate of the humans depended on whether they believed me or not. It was a huge gamble for them. But why? Why was any wolf taking this chance? I know one of them. So he's saying he's a wolf who was using Muro and I to survive. It's not impossible, but I shall believe him. He may hide things, but I do not believe he means any harm. He was overestimating me, but at this moment I appreciated it. Same here. My reason is that Fusashi-san analyzed the feast with reasoning similar to mine, and is so far doing the logical thing for the sake of the humans. I appreciated that. It made me want to buy him a drink once he was old enough. Good job. I trust him too, old man. Why? Because I believe he ain't planning on dying. I'm afraid that he might pick the wrong targets and we end up with a feast that's not ending even when we get rid of all the wolves, right? If that happened, everyone would hang Fusashi, right? He's an outsider. He's not going to die for Yasumizu's sake. That's why he wouldn't say a lie that'd get him killed. It's also why he didn't come out when you said that all the snakes should be hanged. But the situation is different now. Now that he's out in the open, he's probably thinking he can get the spider to protect him. Right, Fusashi? Was he being honest? Or was he only saying that to make Kanzo-san more tolerant? Whatever the case, his analysis was correct. No comment. That was why I couldn't respond honestly. Let a crow. I couldn't lie or gather more antagonism than I already had. To my surprise, Kanzo-san chuckled. It sounded like a mocking laugh, though. Does this mean that he now accepted I was just a cowardly outsider? If that were the case, he probably wouldn't lend any ear to any of my proposals. After all, I wouldn't give my life for Yasumizu. Ask one thing then. Which one of the 6 do we hang? I didn't think about it yet. What about you, Kyo and Yasu? The two shook their heads. You got someone? We're hanging Uematsu. Because you voted for Tei-Bachan? Uematsu, you got something to say? If necessary, I'm willing to be hanged. I've not yet lived in Yasumizu for long. I never thought I would be trusted. However, there is one thing I can say. I have the spider as the guardian. What? That was your play, but Rokako-san, that was... The spider? Who'd you protect the first night? Right, no one died then. It would help to know that. The first night, I protected you, Kanzo Makishima-sama. That made sense. Sounds true to me. The old fart was pretty loud the first day. The wolves saw that too. Yesterday, I chose Yasunaga Aribe-sama. Me? But I didn't do much yesterday. In all honesty, I sincerely believe that Yasunaga Aribe-sama would make for the more valuable survivor than Makishima-sama. I believe that we shouldn't mistreat those who claim to have guardians. Well, Takumi-san was choosing his words carefully. We couldn't shoot down all of Kanzo-san's suggestions. If he became too emotional, he could destroy our fixed majority. However, I was more or less certain that Rokako-san was human. So that means either Chiemi, Yoshitsugu, the old man, or Mako are all our wolves. What are those for? Crazy. I made a theory that she was using Mako, and just now she named herself the spider rather than the snake. For me, all those things made sense, so... What happened next was completely unexpected. I'm also spider. Oh. That's bad. We'd always thought that the old wolf guy and Mako wouldn't take part in the feast. Boy, were we wrong. After all, their only contributions were their votes. It was hard to tell what they based their votes on. They were just 2 swing votes who were otherwise harmless and best left ignored. It wasn't that simple, though. Unlike last time, when we had exceptions like me, everyone here was participating in the feast the way they were supposed to. That was why everyone could have a guardian of some sort, even if they were too childish or senile to make good use of it. I had been actually afraid that they would waste their guardians. I didn't expect him to come out as a second spider, however. Why him of all people? Why the spider? Because here's the thing, if you hang a spider, Haraki dies. So we have to hang out somebody else. Really? Spider! Uematsu, I am the spider. The old man is lying. You are the liar. Old man, sorry about this, but I always assumed you'd be senile, nothing else. Do you understand the current situation? Huh? Hey, he was like this in the previous feast. Was he like this in the previous feasts? Well, he's been like this. Was useless in the feasts. Mochi, you're friends with him, right? What do you think? Yeah, sorry, but I don't really understand others. You okay, old man? He's alright. How troublesome. Old fart, who'd you protect first and last night? Huh? Listen, our lives are on the line here. If you're just messing around, I'd protect that! He ended the question by raising his finger and pointing at Yasunagi-kun. Me? On which day? Huh? On both? He responded with a smile. I mean that the wolves went for Yasu first. I believe I can understand it. Hey, why him? Nothing. Just because? Yep. That definitely wasn't a good standard for deciding who to protect from death. What was this about anyway? Wait, could it be a badger? What's wrong, Fusashi? Remember when I told you that there might be a badger? Because there are badgers in prayer to Shinai in the shrine. Ah, but it's so minor. I don't think you've... Oh, but it's so minor. Don't you think it's a bit of a stretch to assume they would be humans who serve the wolves? From the situation, it doesn't really matter whether the badger exists or not. All that we know is that either Rikako-san or the old wolf guy are lying. No agreements against that. Honestly, I thought they both were lying, but I more or less knew what Rikako-san was going for. He was probably ordering and controlling Mako, the real spider, effectively making her the one who protected people. That was why the info she gave about how she used the power was correct. In a way, she was the spider's representative. The advantage of this method was that even if she died, the real spider would survive. Of course, Mako wouldn't have someone helping her make decisions if Rikako-san died, limiting the Guardian's effectiveness. But even so, if the spider the wolves thought was dead was actually alive, it could turn the tides in the endgame. The spider was best kept hidden at all costs, but Rikako-san revealed it so it would draw the votes toward her. She used it for her own plan. I didn't know how accurate my assumption was, but it did seem like an effective course of action. But she probably didn't expect to send fake. It was day 3, and the fixed majority plan was becoming reality. Yet no wolves came out as either snakes or crows. We all knew the dangers of the wolves taking the snake's role, while taking the crow would help them hide the amount of wolves still alive, giving them a path to victory. However, there was next to no point in pretending to be a spider. Even if you claimed to be the spider and said you would protect someone, then even if no one died, you could still be suspected of being a wolf fixing the game. However, there was an exception. It was effective in helping the wolves know who the badger was. It was probably true that Kanzo-san was the target the first day, but was stopped by Mako, who was ordered by Rikako-san. That makes sense. So, sorry, just to kind of clear this up, just to bring everybody back into full circle about what's going on. So, currently, Rikako and the old wolf guy are not the spider, because Mako's the spider based on protecting. But, like, technically Rikako is, because Mako would otherwise make some weird decisions if that was the case. However, with the wolf guy speaking up, it's either possible he's the badger or the wolf. But based on just kind of repeating it, if the badger becomes a spider, that means that he could die in place of the wolves and kind of give them a little bit longer of a chance. But if they kill the real spider, that means that Haruaki is like vulnerable, is the thing. So what they're trying to do is essentially the badger reveals themselves as, well, essentially the spider, but they're the badger. Putting the other person who said the spider, in this case Rikako, as a target. So the wolves will kill Rikako, thinking that the spider will not protect Haruaki. Mako, who is the spider, will protect Haruaki. Then, as long as we don't hang either of the spiders. Then, after that, they'll hang the wolf guy, because obviously he's the most suspect at that point, but now there's, in their thoughts, no spiders, so they'll kill Haruaki. But that means Mako has to keep protecting them, and it's fine. That was why the wolves, who knew what they were aiming for that day, had recognized Rikako-san as the real deal. They also understood that the old wolf guy was lying. That meant that, from the wolf's perspective, he was a human who just told a lie. It was too obvious. The wolves knew about the badger. The wolves and their ally needed to be proactive about lying. The old wolf guy defied that rule, letting the wolves know what he was. With Asakura Miya's death, they had lost a vote, but with this, they now had 3 again. Also, Kanzo-san was considering his opponent, Rikako-san, as the next candidate for the hanging. In this situation, we had to make good use of the 6 confirmed humans and hang the lying spider. His choice was to trust Kanzo-san's decision to vote for Rikako-san. No, what you should do is vote for somebody who's not one of them, and hopefully is not Mako. Gathering wolf, badger, and confirmed human votes, Rikako-san would be set to the tree. It was a chance for the wolves to kill the spider and make them think that the humans killed a wolf. This was really effective for them and extremely dangerous for us. Even if the real spider, Mako, survived, it would be really difficult for me to talk about the badger and explain that Rokako-san was a fake spider on their side. Yeah, I had to convince the human side that they should vote to hang the wolf guy instead. Was that really right, though? No. I had to think carefully. I only came to understand Rokako-san's intentions because she told me to vote for her in a peculiar situation. I was assuming that both she and the wolf guy had some ulterior motives. But was that really right? Was the old guy even capable of that? He played with a pretty useless guardian. Maybe he'd only come out because he found it strange that another spider had named themselves? In fact, that was the most natural reaction, especially in the other's eyes. Same went for Rokako-san. From what I saw of her, she was more legend and harmony than intelligence. What if she was actually thinking that by protecting Mako, she would be considered a good guy and avoided gathering votes? What if her affection for me was all part of the plan too? There was obviously the more reasonable line of thinking. Also, Rokako-san could have also been lying to let the wolves know something. Anyway, we had a relatively sane young woman going up against a completely senile man. No matter how you looked at it. Uematsu, you're lying. The choice was obvious. No. Why'd you say it now then? You once told us to hang you if we had to. This was after some votes went in. Yes, I did say that. Then why do you say you have a guardian now that you're about to be hanged? I fell silent. I couldn't tell whether it was a silence to protect Mako or just an awkward silence because he pointed out the harsh truth. It's obvious. What about you people? I'm leaving my vote to Yasunaga. That'll make it easier for you to believe me, won't it? Yeah, that's fine. Kyo, you. Rokako-san, are you really the spider? Yes, Nosatu-sama. That much is certain. Both are lying if you ask me. Kamoshida, you've got nothing better to say than shut up. Oni-chan, don't worry. I'll protect you. Isn't that weird? It's not fair. Rokako-san went through a lot of bad-mouthing here in Yasumizu, but fought through it for our sake. Why did he flip upside down just because of the old guy's words? Why did he even say it? Shigebi? Someone might have told him to say that. It might be that Rokako-san's going through some inner struggle. We don't know what's true. We can't just whip up an answer and simply kill someone like that. It's dangerous. I know, but in the end, it's either you believe or you don't. Musashi, what do you think? What was I to do? How was I to approach this? Neither. The answer is neither. You technically don't vote for one of them, and you vote for Mochi, Yoshitsuga, or Chiemi is the thing. I'm going to say vote for the old wolf guy, but I guess Rokako is probably the correct answer. This would be a gamble. I had to remove the unpredictability and simply play the odds. I would have to rely on common sense, or by the first impressions I had, or maybe I would just believe Rokako-san. I believe that the old wolf man is lying. The proof is? It didn't have to be true as long as everyone was won over. No. The feast was a game where people hunted lies. I couldn't let my eloquence alone do the talking. I needed truth. Did I have to talk about Mako then? No, that would make me simply unforgivable. Then, it actually doesn't matter which one we hang. I would play the role presented to me. It was the only way for me to gain their trust. What do you mean? If I died tonight, it would be proof that I was a snake and that Takumi-san and Osato-san are humans. We're hanging someone today, so I'll leave 10 people, 5 of which would be confirmed humans. However, Kuri-san was just a self-proclaimed one. Even so, the remaining 5 wouldn't be able to get enough votes on her. Right, Yoshitsugu-kun? Yeah, I'm not voting for Mom. And the 5 confirmed humans would win the votes. They would have the fixed majority. Well, we still need assurance that Yoshitsugu-kun won't betray us, but in the end, that too was just about whether you trust him or not. I ain't betraying anybody. Excuse me. I'll leave that decision to the rest of you. On the other hand, if I didn't die, those of you who couldn't trust me would be worried. But if I survive, I would use my guardian to look into the most shady person among the 5 unknowns. If it's a wolf, we hang them, and if it's a human, we add them to the confirmed list and hang one of the 4 unknowns. Even if I die then, there would be 5 confirmed humans and 3 unknowns, and Kuri-san could tell you how many wolves there were left. Even if the worst comes to worst and all 3 end up hanging, the humans will still win. Someone from Yasumizu will survive. But no matter when I died, it only increased the number of confirmed humans with no drawbacks. Human victory would be certain. What if I keep surviving? I understand why you would be curious about that. That's why I promised to exterminate the wolves by the day after tomorrow at worst. That was an impactful line. I could see and hear them gasp. It felt good, but I didn't show it. If I fail, you could hang me right then. Even if I was a wolf, you would still have time to find the last one. So as things are, the humans have the advantage no matter what, so it doesn't matter which one of them you hang. However, I don't believe we should leave the old man. Personally, I can't even tell if he's sane, senile, or just malicious. Hiraki-san. Also, it's likely that Rokako-san would soon be taken out by the wolves. The true spider is a real threat, after all. Indeed, I am prepared. Let's continue with that, and if it doesn't work, you can hang both of us. That should give you peace of mind. But if you leave the old man, who doesn't take responsibility for his words and actions, there will always be an element of uncertainty. See, maybe he's just not senile. Maybe he just acted like it. Have you ever thought of that, Hiraki? That's why I believe he should be hanged. That'll make the path to victory clearer. Another thing, I think she's the real deal, and I have a minor detail that makes me inclined to believe her. It's not very substantial, though, so I'm keeping it to myself for now. Just as Takumi-san said, I don't plan to die yet. I'm expecting Rikako-san to put her life on the line to protect me, so this is my decision. I truly am this cowardly, but since I'm the snake, I'll go through with the strategy. The fact that I'm putting my future life on the line is proof of the only sincerity I, a person with no one who trusts or supports me, can give. Please believe me. That is all. Rousing speech, my dude! Rousing speech! No one believes him. Yasukiyo, what do you think? Takumi-san instantly asked that. I'll believe him. I thought he was the snake right from the start, but he turned out to be a lot more heartless than I expected. Yes, I will believe him as well. Above all else, I want to prevent Rikako-san's hanging. Ori-san? Yes, I am entrusting my vote to Yasunaga. Old man, this was the moment of truth. You? Not believing him. Not as much. There's gotta be holes all over his reasoning. We got no way to make him take responsibility for conning him. I'll blame myself instead and kill Yamatsu, who voted for Teba. The fixed majority will fail then. Old man. But Takumi-san did something unexpected. What did he do? Please give me your vote. What? He lowered his hands and forehead on the floor. Takumi Nichan? What? Like I said, I believe the guy, but I don't trust his humanity. He ain't a good guy and would probably give us loads of trouble if he was our enemy. But being a bad guy doesn't mean you become a wolf. Those things aren't related. Listening to his words made me realize that it was serious. That's why I'll believe him. I know it's a bit complicated for you, but that's why I want you to trust me, as someone who you've known for 30 years. If you do, I promise to kill both Fusashi and Uematsu the moment we find out they're liars. I don't even care that the corruption will come from me. That's my promise. Damn. He did the same as me, but his life on words. Please. He even gave his honor. Come here, dumbass. Old man. Gotta clean up when the feast's over. I got nothing left. I'll take the corruption with me on the way to Yomi. Fusashi. Yes? You better prepare yourself. I still think you're guilty of Teba's death. Can't make up for that as the snake. I'm skin you alive. He gulped. I was being glared at by the old hunter who was no stranger to death. You too, Uematsu. I am prepared. Tally the votes. Your turn, old fart. Without an expression or a word, he pointed at me. Old guy. 1 vote. Old wolf guy. 2 votes. The old fellow. 3 votes. Yasumizu's elder. 4 votes. 1 for the wolf man. 5 votes. Old guy. Yoshikun, are you voting for him too? Yeah. That's settled. I'll do the same then. Sorry. Kamoshida-sama. 1 for the wolf guy. 1 for Haraki-san. Genie, that seems... I mean, I just don't get it. I don't want Rikako-san to die either, but... It's possible the old man said that just because he's senile. Chiemi's a wolf? What? I knocked out my microphone cable. I'm so sorry. Literally, like, it is the worst fucking cable. I think that's so. Why is no one pointing that out? Why isn't Haraki-san saying that? I said it doesn't matter, didn't I? You can't predict Mako-chan's votes either, can you? Huh? They're both suspicious. I would prefer the old man to become the sacrifice instead of the little girl. It's the reasonable approach. That's enough. Rikako-san? For the old fellow. The old man. For the old man. Bring the rope. I need time. Shut it! Kanzo-san suddenly punched the guy. That's right, because he went... Oh, that's right, because he was the one who killed Mochi last time, when he said I'm to prepare. I'll hang him myself. Rest of you go back. He quickly tied up the wolf guy and pulled him off into the mist. His voice was strangely subdued, but I could feel intense emotion behind it. None of us knew what made him like that, so we all just sat paralyzed. Old man, what's gotten into you? The one to move first was Takumi-san. Makishima-san, what's up with him? It's because the old wolf guy murdered Mochi last time, for no reason. By the time I went outside, Takumi-san was already disappearing into the mist. Takumi-san, Musashi, you stay there. Yoshi, hold him back. All right. Why? I don't know, but you're the most important human right now. You gotta stay safe just in case. Just in case. Oh yeah, the last time when the wolf guy was gonna be lynched, it led to some unexplained murders. Takumi-san, don't go. I shouted that. You're necessary for us to win the feast. There was no response. Even his footsteps were vanishing into the mist. What do you believe will happen? I felt my heart jump. I turned around and saw nothing beside Yoshitsugu-kun, who was wearing a suspicious scowl. What? Let's just go. Leave the old fort to Takumi-ni. But think about how it would look for you to disappear on your own. You got a point. They only trust me because Takumi-san was vouching for me. Alright, let's just go back to the dining hall. My worries were for nothing. In about half an hour, we were joined by Takumi-san and Kanzo-san. Their expressions were grim, but implied nothing specific. Where's the old man? Hanged. He sat down on the seat closest to the entrance. Takumi, I didn't see it, but you know old man Konzo, he ain't lying. With that, today's feast had ended. Everyone sighed quietly in relief. There must have been some of the wolves' depression in that. After all, from my perspective, we were just one step away from victory. However, this step would be one that was very hard to take. How easy it would be if I died and it all ended there. However, it was once again be pointless. Until I solved why death hadn't come for me, I remained afraid of this unexplained phenomena. Until I solved the mystery and escaped this loop, I would see many tragedies, fight against fear, and keep seeing many bad endings. A part of me hoped that winning the feast would end it. But if it didn't, I would have no clue where the core of this mystery was. True, we still have to solve those. Was this mystery even solvable? Could I cling to my own sanity until then? It remained uneasy. After a bit of rest, we had tons of things to do. The top priority was cleaning up Mamiya-san and Haru-chan's remains. Alright, so that's the correct option. Obviously, we should have chose the other option, but we'll do that later. If we die, we'll go back and check it. I wanted to help, but they stopped me, since something might happen in the mist. I couldn't help with the food either, probably because they were wary of me too. I couldn't blame them, considering what I said. In a way, they were now more distant with me than last time, when I was just a pure outsider. I continued watching the people carefully do what they had to do, to making sure there were no blind spots under Takumi's guidance. I wanted to win. I've gotten this far, so I wanted to defeat the wolves, though this was actually just a part of my desire to survive and expose the things I had no choice but to keep quiet about. I said all that horrible stuff in order to protect Mako. I just wanted to finally find peace from the stuff that bothered me. I felt like escapism, though. It seemed like proof that my mental state was weakened, and I didn't like it. Chop, chop, chop. By the way, Fusashi-kun, you said we would win at worst the day after tomorrow. Do you think it's possible to win tomorrow, then? As everyone worked and I had nothing to do, Kiyonosuke-shi, who wasn't too involved in the work, whispered that to me. Yes, I do. I didn't know if everyone else believed me, but I did feel like I was close to the conclusion. You cannot tell me why, I assume? No, not yet. I couldn't let anyone find out that Mako was the spider. In fact, if I tried to survive it for someone found out what she was and that I prioritized my own survival over hers, I'd be the target of everyone's scorn. That was how complicated my current position was. Well, I suppose it cannot be helped. That aside, you, seem to be getting close to Rikaku Uematsu-san. Well, I knew you'd be curious about that. Incidentally, Rikaku-san had insisted on going with Takumi-san and the others to mourn the ones lost. We decided that it wouldn't be bad to get together if we both survived the mists. I see. What was I supposed to say here? Fair point. Rikaku Uematsu-san is important to you as more than just a fellow village head? Just so you know, it's not all set in stone yet. Why not tell her how you feel? Oh, that wouldn't do. I'm just clinging to the past. Oh, is she your ex or something? Hardly, though it's just the spider's family. She's still the head. A second son like myself is a poor match for her. And I'm a nobody. Going by that logic, we're worlds apart. I would like to say that's true, but this is a time when the feelings of both parties are important, at least outside this village. It's been a long time outside, so I understand that all this praise and censure binding her are just relics of an age long gone. That's why I believe that a man who doesn't have such bindings might be able to make her happy. After the mist came, I eventually came to think that way. He's a nice guy, deep down in his conceited ways. I'm not sure what to say here. I still think that, that she's the one who will have to make the final call. That is something just between you two. I know full well that I have no say in the matter, but what she bears as the bedroom woman's servant would be quite a strange and heavy burden for you. What do you mean? It's not really my place to say, though I am willing to consult you about most other matters. I'll appreciate it. He then gave me a business card. Kinosuke Nosato MD, graduated from XX University. Doctor? Wow, so he really was an elite. Yeah, we know he's a doctor because of the thing. It wasn't for a specific job, it was just his personal info. Was he looking for a new job? It had his email and phone number on it, and it felt like a relic. Looking at it prompted a bit of nostalgia even. The bedroom woman's servant's role, huh? Was he being considerate, or was it some sort of warning? It didn't seem like I could ask any further, especially with all the people here, so I would just take it as goodwill and move on. Interesting. I didn't think much of this, but I had absolutely no idea that I would catch a glimpse of a new kind of darkness from the Uematsu family and Fujiyoshi as a whole. What? That's a fucking lead up? What's happening? What? The cleanup was over and everyone returned to eat. I imagine you were tired. Please eat as much as you want. Thank you. Kuri-san was a good person. I didn't know everything about her, but she treated everyone with respect, keeping relationships proper and bright. Yeah, let's not forget that. I knew for sure that her personality was supported by her sons. She arrived at Fujiyoshi, had to deal with the strange customs, lost her husband, and was sent here to Yasumizu, where she'd lived for over a decade. Her mind was actually very frail at this point, and without her sons to support her, she would eventually easily break. However, even if it came from a strained mind and heart, goodwill was goodwill, and conscience was conscience. Not to mention that she didn't do anything bad yet. The fact that I checked my bowl for something green despite that made me realize how ill-natured I really was. True. Unfortunately, that was just how I was, so I would at least keep up my mask and effectively give them conscious of my own kind. I sat down, put my hands together, picked up the chopsticks, and ate the rice squirrel. Like always, it was simple, beastly, yet still good. I only felt that something was wrong with it a bit later. At first, I just thought I burned my mouth or something. But suddenly, I couldn't feel my mouth at all, and after an unnatural sensation that overwhelmed my tongue and cheeks, I lost my sense of direction. My body twisted, and right as a dull pain went through my head, I fell to the floor. What? I'd been poisoned. I could understand that clearly, but all my processing power went to dealing with the unnatural feeling attacking my body. I couldn't see properly. I couldn't breathe or speak. Despite that, I still had a burning pain in my mouth and an urge to vomit, along with unbearable agony. I couldn't understand what was happening around me. It was probably pure chaos, but I was struggling to even breathe. It was only getting worse. A sudden, intense impact hit my back. My body jumped and then I puked. Fusashi! Fusashi! My breathing stabilized for a moment. I could hear a voice as well as see something, a wet floor in my own hands. However, the nausea didn't end. The spasms made me feel like my chest was turning inside out and I soon puked again. Kyo, what is this? What, right after you ate it? The only thing here with that potent is wolfsbane. Anyone else eat it? I did. Most of us did, actually. Ariba, it wasn't me. We gotta make him puke it out. Do we have a rubber hose? Hose? To clean out his stomach. I've never done it myself, but I have no choice. Connect it to the tap. Hurry. I couldn't understand what they were talking about. My burning throat was a clear message that this was lethal. Haruki-san, hang in there. We gotta give him CPR or something. We do, but only after we clear out his stomach. Clear the path, boil some water. Someone was treating me somehow. I could tell that much, but I also knew it was too late. I was strangely calm about it, too. So this was the end, huh? Like I figured, making it to the end as the snake was pretty difficult. What about next time, then? What was I supposed to do to move forward? Ah, shit, I wanted to bring as many memories as possible to the next time around. I wanted to hear what they were saying, memorize it, and analyze it properly on the next loop. That was unlikely, though. All my memories of my final moments so far were pretty vague. I was fated to never die, yet to die many times. It was a really interesting thing to think about, but not even those who returned seemed to be given the key to the mysteries of the final moments. Shit, no, his heart, no! Even the pain was becoming dull. My mind was on the verge of fading. Everyone, please leave. Huh? Rika is... I'll take his poison. What? What? What is happening? Everyone suddenly fell silent. I thought this was because my senses were fading. However, it was actually the opposite. My senses were absolutely clear, considering the situation. This could have been a pre-death lull, or perhaps some sort of delusion. I would have preferred to die while paralyzed, though. Clearly feeling the pain of death wasn't exactly a good time. That was a weird statement to make, but the absurdity was lost on me. Suddenly I felt the light past my eyelids grow weaker. Once it was almost completely dark, I realized it was because the windows were closed. I slowly opened my eyes. What just happened? Did Rikako save us? I couldn't see clearly, but only because of the dim lighting in the shut dining hall. I moved my head, but it felt really heavy. My heart had almost stopped pumping blood. My pulse was dull and weak. I was certain I would die soon, but then I felt Rikako-san approach me. Her expression wasn't clear to me, but her breathing was strangely loud. She was panting, but trying to endure it. I thought that because of the slight quivering in each of her breaths. After wiping her mouth, she brought her body close to mine. No. What? She actually straddled me. What? 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 Though she was in a position where she could look down on me, she looked at me with upturned eyes. That, in addition to her bashful expression, made it clear that she was about to do something sinful. What? What? She stopped hiding the intensity of her breathing. Her small tongue, wet with saliva, was peeking through her mouth, and it was extremely lustful. I could feel her warmth on my abdomen. With her every breath, I felt the hardness of her pelvis despite all the cloth between us. Oh my god. Even though I was dying, or maybe because of it, the feeling of the opposite sex on me awakened the instinct, the man within me. I love you. Her voice felt like it didn't belong to her. A refined traditional woman. A woman that appeared younger than she was. A clumsy woman with some unfortunate tendencies. A mysterious woman. None of that was there. She was now lustful. Bewitching. Overpowering. I'm closing my window because this is too much information for the outside world to hear. The enchanting mature lady squirmed as if suffocating in her familiar black clothing. As I noticed that she reached for the edge of my shirt, lifted it up and went in with her fingers with practiced motions. I'm turning down the game slightly because this is a little bit loud, and I'm just gonna... Never mind, I have no... Never mind! They were cold. I could feel them on my skin, passing my belly button, making me moan lightly. She then reached her other hand in and moved them both without restraint. What did she do? Oh my god! As her arms went deep inside, her palms caressed my torso and her fingers lustfully searched for any sensitive spots. Despite my confusion, it made me moan over and over. She was toying with my near mortal clarity, which was both confusing and a bit uncomfortable. No shit, Sherlock. However, I didn't resist. No shit, Sherlock? Because my limbs were weak from the poison? No, that would just be making excuses. I enjoyed that she was having her way with me. He's a sub. Oh my god. It was exciting, numbing, and paralyzing. However, when she reached for my belt and tried to undo it, I somehow found the power to put out my right hand and try to push her aside. Yeah, buddy, it's not good. It was a feeble gesture, but enough to get the message across. I see. Her whisper told me that she understood me, but was somehow indifferent about it. Very well. Her face is different. She moved and backed away to the side. As her warmth faded, the coldness from the impending death came back. This might hurt a bit, but... She then smiled and took something out of her sleeve. Relax. An ice pick? It seemed like a Japanese-made awl. Upon seeing it, I couldn't understand anything anymore. Was she going to make love to me? Torture me? Kill me? I couldn't understand, but it appeared that my resistance from a moment ago left me completely powerless and unwilling to do anything. As my vision grew dim, so did my senses. But then I felt a pain in my left shoulder. Had she pierced me with the awl? That was the last thing I thought and felt before losing consciousness. What? My eyes opened and I sat up. Haraki-san! Shimei was right next to me for some reason. She was holding my hand and crying her eyes out. I'm so glad you're alive. What the fuck just happened? She then rested her forehead on the back of my hand and began crying even more fiercely. I looked around. This was the dining hall. Also, she doesn't remember what happened last time. Maybe Chiami's better. I think Chiami's still better, actually. Everyone else was here too, but they all wore conflicted expressions. Shimi was the only one who openly expressing how they felt. What happened? Actually, I had no idea for a moment, but then... Right. I almost died. What saved me, though? Why did I feel so good? It was like I had a full night's sleep. Hard to believe I was just on the brink of death. I also feel fucking great! Sorry, Chimi-chan. Can you, Yeah, sorry. It's fine. Just... What happened? You've been asleep for about 5 hours. It's dark outside now, but not much changed. Misato-san, what happened to me? Aconite poisoning. The symptoms are so bad that it should have been impossible for you to survive. But for some reason, you're alive. I believe I must congratulate you. His tone seemed to be somewhat sarcastic, but he was probably just hiding how suspicious and uneasy he felt. He was eyeing Rikako-san, who was standing near the window looking down and comforting Meiko. He wasn't the only one. She was the center of attention here. Wonder, disbelief, reverence, worship. Prayers really do work, huh? I had little doubt that was what he actually thought. Do they? I don't remember much, but thank you, Rikako-san? Why is she white? Like all white garb, rather. I simply fulfilled my role as Nuimatsu. Which is fucking the poison out of me? Araki? Both of us? It's fine. All that matters is he's alive. I didn't agree there. Being saved by some religious rite was just as ridiculous as this death loop I was trapped in. Prayers? Religious rites? Did that experience really qualify? I reached for my shoulder and felt fresh bandages. The cotton was bloody, meaning she really had stabbed me. Did she suck out the poison? That couldn't be it. I wasn't bitten by a snake. I ingested aconite poison. You couldn't just suck that out of the bloodstream. I shall take in his poison. He had said that, right? Take in my poison? Yes, because taking in the corruption is one of the Uematsu's roles. That perhaps my role here is to take in the hatred of everyone present. The role of the Uematsu. What she bears as the bad woman servant would be quite a strange and heavy burden for you. The spider or bedroom woman servants. That was why the Uematsu of old had the role of protecting the dreams of the villagers. Yes, the Uematsu are also responsible for funeral rites. Our faith might have some roots in Buddhism as a result of that duty. Huh, so that was how it was. I understood now. And I also understood how frightening the Uematsu were. However, there was something more important to worry about. Musashi almost died and Uematsu saved him. It would be an act. A reasonable thing to suspect, but if he can really make an act of stopping his own heart, he can make a living out of that stunt. Chikamochi, you saw him, right? Those were real symptoms. Yeah, eating wolfsbane's no joke. And Richan ended up like that isn't a joke either. Stop it. Yeah. I just realized that her black clothes were gone. But man, Musashi and Uematsu were humans. So, wait, it wasn't Mom. There it was. Everyone was here, but Kori-san alone seemed to be in a different position. She was deep in the room sitting, probably forcefully on a chair with a pale face. I wasn't the only one who ate the rice girl, right, Yasunaga-kun? Yes, no one ate any more after you were poisoned, but there's probably none of it in the pot. I believe the bowl you ate from had poison applied to it. Or some was poured into the food after taking it from the pot. No, I didn't do it. Oribe-san, I'm not accusing you. I'm simply saying that it's fair to consider you're the prime suspect. We can't absolve you of responsibility because we haven't formed a counter-argument yet. That's it. I understand. I was the only one at the counter then, but it wasn't me. The bowls were on that shelf. No one was watching it, so it could have been anyone. That's the wrong way to look at it, Yasunaga Oribe-kun. Everyone could see it, so if something strange happened, someone would have noticed. Also, you were the one who brought the bulls out to be used. Are you saying you are the culprit? No, I had no reason to do that. True, and it's not like there were names in the bowls. The only time you could target him specifically was while the food was being served. I know, but think about it. Mom would have been the first suspect even if Fusashi-san wasn't the one poisoned. What would be the point of killing someone in that situation? Yasunaga-kun, I hate to say this, but you may have wanted to take out the snake even if it meant dying in the process. Takumi-san joined the exchange. Kyo's right. Logically speaking, you're the most suspicious one here, Kaori-san. That's what everyone thinks, not just Kyo. Even I'm starting to suspect you a little. Takumi-san, you too? Does this mean that the crow died? That'd be insane. If she actually is it, that means my first hunch was correct, and I shouldn't doubt myself. I can't let Kyo get all the hate here. How unlike you. Personally, I do trust Kaori-san. What's your reason? If she had to kill someone to protect Yoshitsugu, she'd kill everyone, not just Fusashi. She wouldn't make any excuses for it either. You're a scary mom with serious guts. Yeah, he was completely right about her. So true. Takumi-san knew her so well and still fell for her, huh? He was serious about her. It made me want to cheer him on. In that case, I had to make it through the night. I trust you too, Kaori-san. Musashi-san. Do you have a reason? Well, the circumstantial evidence might not be in her favor, but it's cancelled out by her nature as a person. I also want to trust Takumi-san's analysis. He believed in me, after all. Thanks. What do you say? Can't hang any more today. We'll worry about it tomorrow. Good point. Anyway, it's late. Let's go to bed. Mom, I'll help clean up. I'll do it too. You gotta use the stuff here. Thank you, you two. So it's either Mochi or the other wolf who did it. Or the badger. We left the family of 3 and went outside. Hey, gee, where's my gun? It's fine. He's better now. Actually, found it! Oh! To my surprise, the hunting rifle was placed against the dining hall's wall, but where's the bolts? I threw him into the mist. Kanzo-san grunted in displeasure, snatched the gun from Mochi, and went off into the mist. Man, I'm no good. She chuckled emptily. There were still dried lines of tears down her cheeks. It's fine. We had to take it apart, and if it went completely missing, we'd have assumed you took it with you. Me? Oh, as a weapon. Yeah, wouldn't want to draw suspicion, right? Man, this is such a pain. I tried to walk. Tired of walking on eggshells. Can't the mist just go away already? Don't worry, everything will come to end tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going then. Good night. As he left, Takumi-san lightly tapped my shoulder. You said your recovery was a miracle. Don't waste it. Gave my shoulder a firm squeeze, then left. Of course. I would do whatever I could to survive. So that means that if we kill Rokako-san, that we don't survive this. Got it. Going to. Fusayuki-san! Good night! Yeah, Fusayuki! Sorry. Whenever Mako says the wrong name for Haraki, it's the greatest thing. I love it so much. I don't know why. Oh, we protect Mako. Fusayuki-san! Haraki-san, be careful. Yeah, good night. Kako-san didn't speak or even look at me until the very end. I crossed my legs and sat down on my futon. I wasn't tense anymore, probably because I was used to it or because I wouldn't die tomorrow. I just didn't feel like sleeping, though. I actually felt really good. Why had I survived? Was it really aconite? Even if I heard that real aconite poisoning was lethal. What if it was actually some weird poison that just made it seem like you were dying, then fully recovered afterwards? That kind of trick would be kicked out of the Rookie of the Year mystery novel award in the prep reading. That's the wrong way to look at it, Yasunaga Oribe-kun. Everyone could see it, so if something strange happened, everyone would have noticed. What would be the point of killing someone in that situation? I could relate to them both. Kiyonosuke was right that it was unlikely to be pure coincidence. Yasunaga-kun was right that it was unlikely risk to take for someone who didn't need to. I was thinking about who'd done it and why it made me feel like it was in some mystery novel. Though since I could easily dispel the suspicions of Kaori-san, I could more or less see how it was. The very premise was wrong, so I knew exactly what I had to do today. I took out my notepad, wrote down the name Yoshitsugu Oribe, and put it near my pillow. No, you should have done Shigemi! But okay. Suddenly there was a knock on my door. I quickly became tense again. A visitor? Now? Right after I almost died? I'll decide what to do after seeing their face. Is it Chiemi? But then I realized this hut didn't have any way for me to look outside the door. However, there are spaces between the boards of the door, most likely warped by changes in humidity. I peeked outside through them. Chiemi? Another knock. Who is it? I went ahead and asked. It's me, Chiemi Serizawa. Let's go! What is it? I want to ask something. Well, ask away. Should you be sheltering right now? It's dangerous outside, isn't it? Sure you should be here? It's okay. There's still people walking around. Can we talk? I don't mind if it's through the door. Sure. I realize that I can't do anything. I'm a huge failure. I've been causing trouble for everyone here ever since I was little. That's why I studied hard, entered a college, and went outside the village. Did you know that the only way people from Yasumizu can leave is either going to college or finding work somewhere else? I didn't actually. You have people who work away from home. Yeah, Takumi and Nichan left once. His mom and dad are outside too. News to me? Yeah. His dad is sickly, so he goes outside every now and then. And why is he here? The incident, no, the feast 8 years ago killed a lot of people, and he returned to help clean up, but the people that were still alive weren't enough for Yasumizu to function. Teba-chan depended on him too, so he, I see. So that's why Takumi-san didn't know about the last feast. The rest were in Kamafujiyoshi, right? Yeah. Someone besides Kanzo-san and the old wolf guy were here. Oh yeah, Haru-chan? Haru-chan was so lonely at night that she left the school we were staying at all by herself. Then she went through the mountain path and... Huh? She was in Yasumizu too? I don't know. The adults said they found her in front of Yasumizu, and there were rumors she saw something there. I don't know if that's the reason why, but she started acting weird afterwards. People say she was possessed by a wolf. It came as no surprise, but Shemi still had info that I didn't know of. Had Haru-chan caught a glimpse of the feast? That would mean that she too survived the feast of the Yomi Purge. As things were, there was no way to leave Yasumizu when it was engulfed by the mist. I didn't know if you could enter it, but it was natural to think you couldn't leave after doing so. Thinking rationally, she shouldn't have made it to Yasumizu in the first place. So, something interesting. So, I'm gonna give some context to things while I'm also... This fucking sucks. But sorry, I'm dealing with this pain. I'm trying to get it to stop digging into my fucking toe. Okay, so it's no secret that I really like the intro song to this game. The intro song's super sick, and I before I start the stream, I actually do listen to the full intro beforehand because it's really good. It's a really good song, and you can't listen to it on Spotify or anything. Yes, Doge got me Spotify and so on and so forth. I really like the music of this game. This music is great. But if you've been through a lot of the visual novels, story games that I do, you know that I don't like paying attention to the intros or trailers of games because they have a really bad habit of spoiling a lot of stuff. So I try to not watch too much, but because most of the songs on YouTube for playing the opening theme was listening to it while I was driving, most of them are the intro over and over again. And I didn't get spoiled on anything. I didn't see any major spoilers. Don't worry. It's pretty much all stuff I've already seen. But there was one thing that stood out to me, and it's something that the super analytical brain of a kit likes to think of. Okay. So I didn't really talk about this too much because when you go through the names, you will notice that it goes Chemi, Rikako, and Haru. And then it goes Yasunaga, Chikamochi, Takumi, Kare, Yoshitsugu. There's a specific order to the people. It's not who you meet because you don't meet the students first. You do meet Shemi, but you don't meet all the students first. You meet Kanzo and you meet Tei first. So why is this the specific order? And I had a theory, but I've been trying to make sure whenever I'm playing visual novels that I'm not thinking too far ahead. Yes, I'm trying to figure out what happens in the whole discussion, and I'm learning that I need to play some more Among Us and Town of Salem to refresh my skills at reading the rooms and such. Apparently I'm really good at that with people, not so much games apparently, but that's fine. But for reference's sake, in Danganronpa, I was able to figure out a lot of the trials when I first played those games because I'm just very genre savvy is what it's called. I'm a big TV trope fan, so I'm very genre savvy when it comes to a lot of games that I play and a lot of stories. So I'm usually able to pick up on things pretty darn fast. And I watched the intro, and you see Chiemi and Rikako and Haru. The first loop, we hung out with Chiemi for the most part, and Chiemi's on the main title screen. The second loop, we've hung out with Rikako a lot, and she's also on the title screen. But why is Haru? Yasunaga could be the next person, or Takumi, because Takumi's been very important. Or Kiyonosuke, or Kanzo, or Meiko. Why not one of them? Why is Haru the next choice? And fun fact, in the intro, after it shows Rikako's voice actress for the Japanese, because obviously all the voices are Japanese, Haru is the next one. And like my brain immediately at the time, and I didn't say it on stream, and I probably should like further voice my thoughts on stream when it comes to these things, because I really do want to prove like how genre savvy I am in games. And I hold back because I hope I don't like self-spoil or like go into things thinking certain ways. But like, real talk, we've had the first loop here on the left side. You can't see my mouse, sorry. 0, 1, 2, and 3 are the first loop. 4 and 5 is the second loop. I think there's going to be a 6, a third loop, and that's going to feature Haru. And I do think that majority of this game does revolve around Chiemi. There's a reason that Chiemi is the first one listed after Haruaki, the first person we meet, and why a lot that key 20 is very much seemingly hinting that Chiemi needs to be aware of the loops. That has to, like, everything is pointing that Chiemi has to be aware of it. Not Rikako, not Tei, not anyone else. Chiemi has to be aware of the loops. So I think that she is, was it Dura antagonist? I think, or it's a secondary protagonist, Dura antagonist. Dura antagonist? God, I can't say words. I'm so sorry. But I think there's 3 loops in this game, maybe a 4th. There could be a 4th. But it's one featuring each one of these girls. And after featuring each one of these girls, they're going to each give us enough information on how to essentially beat the loop. That is my thought process. So, while Chiemi was our first person that we were always with, and she for some reason is subconsciously remembering the loops but doesn't fully remember them, once again, that's that key 20 I'm pretty sure we got. Rikako has probably a key related to her, but I don't know what it is, and I can't really assume what it is. It just has something to do with the corruption, and I'm guessing that it relates to the corruption that overtakes her in the first one. But Haru, after realizing that Haru has another personality essentially inside her, which is possibly because of the previous feast, Haru's going to be very important in another loop. Does that mean she's going to be a wolf with us? I do believe that at one point Haruki's going to have to be a wolf. Like, excuse me. Excuse me. When we did the first loop, I told myself after the first stream that Haruki has to be a human at the first point, because he was like a spectator. And when I realized he wasn't really part of the feast and he was just kind of like an outside spectator, like, okay, I was kind of wrong. But I knew that he had to be a human in part of the feast, and at some point he was going to have to be a wolf, because it doesn't make sense to go through this game without Haruki realizing all the different paths. It makes no sense for him to be a spider, because he's not going to be able to help anything, and he would probably just die by random happenstance. It wouldn't make sense for him to be the crow, because the crow is pretty much worthless, and same with the badger. The badger is also pretty much worthless. Now, if the creators of this game were given enough time, I know I'm talking a lot, I'm not talking about playing the game, but like, stick with me here. If the creators of this game had more time and were able to add to this, I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and that after this next loop, like, this next loop isn't just a wolf, it's like we're a crow and there's specific information or something. I'm really hoping that what I hope to happen is the fact that we get to play as every single role. Regular human, snake, crow, monkey, badger, spider, wolf. There's 7 loops, like main loops total. That would be my dream scenario. So we get to play as every single one, and that's how we get a lot of information and can learn more about people. Sometimes we're always going to die early on, that's fine, but it would be nice to have those 7 different loops. And I've been told that this game is long, so it was like really egging me on that was going to be the case. But if you want my honest opinion, I think Haruki's only going to be the snake and only going to be a wolf, and that's probably going to be the only loops, and then we just go back into those same loops, which is fine for the most part. It's not taking away my enjoyment of the game, and if I'm right, that's perfectly fine, because I like guessing. That's something that makes me feel really happy, is when I guess correctly. But I really hope the game proves me wrong, and like we get to suddenly play as the badger, and I'm gonna be like, oh shit, information. So I really want to, like, I don't know. I'm somebody who understands that there are limitations to making a game and how long you can make a game. And you can't just expect that you can work on a game over and over and over again and boom, it's done, right? You have to take your time with it. Part of me really wishes that this game has 7 loops total. So you get to play as each type and witness what it's like playing essentially a perfect game as each type of player. And I hope that's the case. But if it's not, I'm not going to be disappointed. I understand. Also, why am I bringing this up now besides like guessing? I have a little anecdote I want to talk about real quick before we continue. I'm sorry if you hear just for the game, but it's something that like spoke out to me that I'm going to talk about probably in a few streams as well, but I want to bring it up this stream because this is super important in this one in particular. A lot of you know that I've gotten a new job recently. In fact, I had to do a work meeting today for all day. I've been on the road for 4 hours. It's been a long day. And I'm loud because Doge and Ali are not here because they're out and about. But they'll be back. When I went to work on Wednesday, I did really well, got a bunch of stuff done. I'm learning really like a lot. But I was hit with a question out of left field. Literally as far out of left field from a person as possible. There is a manager who's training at my location alongside me. Like I'm training for my role and she's also training for her manager role, okay? She's not a gamer by any means. It sounds like she plays a few games, like not too many. And mostly like her son plays games is what it was. Yes, I'm the youngest, pretty much almost surrounded by almost all moms. It's weird, but like, whatever. Not the point. I don't remember, like we were talking about games because like I slightly revealed that I know just a lot about games in general and that's it. But out of the blue, no shit, out of the blue, as we were talking about this, she asked me dead ass, why are you working here when you could make a game? I don't think our manager, like the main manager, my boss heard it, but I looked at her like wide-eyed because I do want to make a game. I've talked about the fact that I have story ideas that I think would work perfectly for a game. And I was like, well, you know, you have to make the script, you have to code it, you have to design. She's like, well, why don't you like, it sounds like you have a bunch of gaming friends. Why don't you get together and just make a game? Why are you working here if you can just make a game? That'd be sick. And I'm just confused because like, one, I thought she was dissing me that saying like, oh, you're not happy here. You should just leave and go do something you like, which I think kind of was the sound of it. But I actually do like working there. Not just because of the money, but because like the people are nice. But she asked me dead ass, why don't you go make a video game? And that stuck with me all day yesterday. I couldn't stream yesterday because, you know, I had to wake up super early today, so I needed to get sleep. But dead ass, I went to sleep and that was just still in my head. I have a notebook. I have a Word document that have ideas on it. My backpack's over there, but I have ideas that I would love to turn into stories and love to turn into games. But I don't know how to code. And I don't know how to make like drawing assets. And then it hit me. I could technically learn how to use an engine to make a visual novel. I could. And maybe that's something I want to do someday. I actually really do want to do that. But I need help if I want to do that. And it's like all the fucking stars of the universe, the planets fucking aligned. Right? With that being said, because I technically know somebody who might be able to make art for that game. I could make the story. I have the ideas. And it would be a really sick sort of story. I guarantee it. The coding aspect might be hard, but maybe I can learn it. I know how to read code, so maybe I could learn how to code it in specific programs. And I'm bringing this up now because, like, after being told that by a random person at work, more or less, they don't play video games. They just said that out of the blue. I don't know what told them that I would be really possibly good at writing the story. They don't even know I write. they really don't know I write at all. But after hearing that, it just gave me this burst forward, like, maybe I should make a game. Maybe I should show, like, I know I'm trying to write scripts and like scrapping scripts for like many ideas that I have, and I can't put them together editing because I don't have the skills, and it pisses me off because I have the writing, I have the idea of the video, I just can't put it together. But I know I can make a story. I know I can make a damn good story. So maybe in the future I might make a game. And it really made me want to play more Raging Loop, because there are some really big visual novels. You can consider Danganronpa and the Nonary game series, Zero Escape series, as really big visual novels, right? With some puzzles. But then you have, like, I would say, suffice to say, Raging Loop is a smaller visual novel. Not that many people know it. When we played Birth Me Code, when we played Blank Space, I'm not going to say Valhalla is in that same vein. I think it's like in the middle range, but I'd still say it's like visual novel-esque bartending wise. And just playing this game, like, I've really been wanting to play it the past few days, and playing it now is really just giving me this motivation, not only to continue and finish writing the scripts for the videos I want to make and push forth that idea, but also actually writing a full-fledged story that could be turned into a game. Which means that after this stream, tomorrow, either during work or after work, I think I'm gonna have to, message a few people and see what we can do. I may not have the money to fund a game, and maybe I would just have to learn about how to do it all myself. I think I could make a damn good visual novel. This is a really good visual novel. Birth Me Code was amazing. Blank Space was really good, though faltered in a few spaces. Valhalla is great. Danganronpa is great. Nonary games, the Zero Escape series, great. This is just making me want to. Sorry, let's get back to the game. I just wanted to talk about that, but you'll hear me talk about that more in other streams, because it really is, it hit a chord with me. It hit a chord with me. Thinking rationally, she shouldn't have made it to Yasumizu in the first place, but her possession, if she'd seen something in the mist without even ever making it to Yasumizu, could she have become inflicted with some trauma or something divine because of it? I see, Rose. You have tried again several times, have you not? If I wanted to find out more about her, it was too late for that this time. I could have been wrong, of course. There's probably a lot more info for me to find, not to mention I couldn't go back unless I died. Also, I decided to save the humans, so I would see it through to the end. Of course that included her. Sorry, anyway, why do you think you're useless? I mean, I can't vote, right? Nor can I think like Yasukun or Takumi Nichan. Yasukun and even Osato-san are doing whatever they can. If you ask me, you're the reason why no one crossed certain mental lines. What do you mean? We grew accustomed to killing and unfairly punishing each other. In a way, we're already insane. Still, we'd surely regret it if we killed people purely for revenge, and we were absolutely in danger of doing that. I kind of think that you've been racking your brain trying to avoid that at all costs. That's how it seems to me, anyway. Did I miss the mark? Sorry, I don't mean to act like I know everything about you. I'm just saying that people have what they're good at and bad at, and I think that you're a valuable asset on your own. Oh, Rocky-san! What? All of a sudden her voice cracked briefly, weighing down with sorrow. Why are you so nice? I'm useless. Even when you collapse, all I can do is cry. Just say it. Tell me I'm in your way and I should die. Why would I say something I don't mean? It won't help anyone. Also because we're hardcore crushing on Shimmy. Say it. I can't hate you if you don't. I love you, Haraki-san. And from She Remembers! Let's go! I can't bear it anymore. This wasn't an admission of love. It was an SOS, if not a plea for death. Shut up. Do you hate your home? I do. Everyone here too? I hate them so much. As if that's true. But there's no place for me here. In the end, she was someone who'd abandoned Yasumizu. Even if there was space for her to live, she just couldn't adjust to this way of life, and her thinking was no longer that of a Yasumizu inhabitant. However, moving away didn't solve all of her problems either. She saw a glimmer of hope in her homeland and returned here, or so I assumed. But she didn't get what she wanted and suffered in vain. To top it all off, she was caught up in the feast. It must have been incredibly painful. So that's why she treated me so nicely when we first met. There must have been a profound emptiness in her heart, but I couldn't return those feelings during this loop. I'd already accepted someone else. I get it. Rikaku-san is cute, isn't she? I had no idea she had superpowers too, though. Superpowers? She took away your poison. That's why you survived. It's amazing. I don't stand a chance against that. You're charming too, you know? Then go out with me. Play with me. Hold my hand. Take me for a bike ride far away. Let me spend all day sleeping in your arms. Fuck yeah. Open this door. I could do that, but that would be an empty gesture. Being granted false hope only led to greater despair, so I didn't open the door. I couldn't. Liar. I lied? Not blatantly, maybe. You let me get my hopes up, then just left me hanging. And now you say you didn't lie? How mean. So cruel and unfair. I'm just awful. I might have underestimated some things here. Trying to save someone you've given up on was just naive hypocrisy. In the end, you need to be prepared to never see them again. It only works when you've been physically separated. That's probably the only refuge she had left, but in this mist, there was nowhere for her to hide. She could only attack herself in a roundabout manner by criticizing me. And I want you to reject me properly. No matter what happened here, it wouldn't end well. Worst case scenario, she could disappear into the mist again. Did I really write it off as a simple drama between a man and woman? But I already decided. The moment I opened my mouth. What are you doing here, Serizawa-sama? Rikako-san's voice. It's nothing. I'm just being pathetic. Night is for sheltering. As for the snake, Fusashi-sama is in danger. Should you not be more considerate? You're walking around too? As an Uematsu, I must perform what nightly patrols I can. That's just an excuse. Someone will die regardless, and what could you do if something did happen anyway? Even you could be a wolf, right? Stop it, Shimi-chan. Head of the Uematsu family, a beauty, a woman of character. You're not very popular in Yasumizu, but everyone here thinks you're a good person. You come from Fujiyoshi, you're actually respected and revered. You have a place to return to, but none of that matters, does it? Shemi! Don't say my name! Rikako-san might be a wolf. She might be a terrible person. This might all be an act. I am human. Anyone can say that. What matters is whether you can get someone to believe you and use superpowers. Of course everyone will believe you. Of course he'll love you. I don't stand a chance against that. You have everything I don't have. Even Takara Aki-san. That's just too cruel and unfair. She didn't want to hurt Rikako-san. She only wanted to hurt herself, but as one who could do nothing but hurt her, I couldn't say anything. You are misunderstanding me. How? Araki-sama simply gave me hope. He merely lended his chest to me. In fact, he refused my indecent request. Even as he was dying, he clearly rejected me. There's nothing between us, and never will be. You're lying. You're just playing it off. Rather, I am the one who has nothing. I'm a hollow woman, possessing only the Uematsu family's crest, history, and faith. I do not have a place of my own either. I do not even have the power to cling to salvation. My entire body and mind was sold off to the Shinai-sama. What do you mean? Once the mist clears, I intend to finish my business here, and may go to the police, let the flow take me away from here, and accept where I end up. Aren't you going to die tonight, though? But you're different. Once the mist clears, Yasumizu will surely accept you. Your cheerfulness, strength, and consideration gives everyone hope. This is where you belong, and I have no such place. And Fusashi-sama belongs elsewhere. As those born in Fujiyoshi, we cannot dream of spending our lives with him. Let us go back. I will take you to your room. No, I don't get you at all. It's not that complicated. If you love each other, then date. Do whatever you want. I cannot do that anymore. Why? She's right. Yeah, Rikako-san had my thanks. She gave me the best way to deal with this. Musashi-sama. I wanted to ask the head of the Uematsu something about the feast in Fujiyoshi. However, I won't open the door. Shimi-chan, you can go now. No way. If you don't believe that much, we wouldn't have worked out anyway. Then I'll stay here. What would you think if someone sat in and listened as you went over your history with men? All right, I'm going. I had no idea if she really understood, or understood it in the way I intended, but she could probably tell that we were about to speak about something unpleasant. Araki-san, once the mist clears, do you do what you have to do and do it right? Backing down was part of a proper breakup. Good night. I could hear her walk off, then nothing. Uematsu-san, let me apologize for one thing. Yes? I showed you something unsightly earlier. If we weren't in the situation, I'd have actually loved that. What? Please, don't say that. It made the mood less tense, but wasn't quite enough. I'll just ask, was that an act or something? Or a mask you wore when you had to fulfill your role as Uematsu? I could hear her gasp. You knew? The response proved my assumption was correct. Yeah, she had, because that's her role. The bedroom woman servant. I should have questioned the lewdness, the derogatory nature of the term a bit earlier. The Uematsu were in the Fujiyoshi head family in charge of the night, including the secret matters related to it. They weren't just the night watch and people in charge of funerals, they also handled the nightly affairs of men and women. That meant they were Fujiyoshi's local sexual service providers. Yeah, we got that. As the head of the family, Rikaku-san obviously knew how to handle such things. If I had to guess, all the Uematsu girls were given such a role. Also, I imagine that taking in the poison corruption was closely related to bodily intimacy. I didn't know much about historic Japan's ideas of medicine, but I knew about the Chinese idea that lovemaking and health were closely tied together. If I could, I would spit out that soda, because of what? Well, even if it wasn't something like that, knowing the human body, they could have easily formed the logic that it released negative energy. Spiders ate their prey by melting their insides and sucking them out, and boy wasn't that fitting. There was also the Jorogumo, the orb-weaving spiders, who shared their name with the yokai that was linked to many lustful stories. In the West, the female spiders that ate their males were called widows, and the black widow was extremely poisonous. Unnerving, elegant, and sexy at the same time, spiders were unique creatures that created webs that they used to catch their prey and consumed them by melting them with poison. I can understand why equating them with evil women and enchanting ladies was so universal. And just now, I practically asked her if she was that. I was more or less right. Fujiyoshi was once a place where hunters thrived, attracting many outsiders, a lot of whom were rowdy. To keep them from going off after the local woman, Fujiyoshi had to train specialists with the right set of skills. The Uematsu gained influence by placing their own relatives in that role. That's fucked up! Also, prior to that, the Uematsu had some religious significance, turning their monopolization of sex into a sanctified act. Their influence must have spread to birth and child-rearing, as well, and the yoke of the tradition made them very powerful. The Uematsu successfully gained control of the darkness most living people encountered by donning the filthy title of bedroom woman servants and facing that darkness head-on. The Miguruma controlled through the public side of faith and politics. The Gunshi handled food and smithing, new info, while the Nosato handled medicine, among other fields. Oh, so we're just supposed to know now it's smithing now. Okay. I wonder where the Uematsu came in and how it all made sense, but as time passed and their family business ceased having a place in modern society, their influence began to decline. War, the drop in demand for hunting, and the spread of diseases from the outside had made the Uematsu lose relevance, and the final descendants of the family had neither the originality nor zeal to adapt to the times and survive. Because of our role, we did not consider protecting the bloodline to be important. If an Uematsu girl gave birth, the child would be an Uematsu regardless of who fathered it. They would be taught the family's teaching, rites, some absurd laws, and become true Uematsu. The head would always be a woman. We also worked as a bedroom women's servant, and if she had a daughter, the daughter would be the new head. But if she did not, a different qualified girl would inherit the role. The Uematsu were bound not by blood, but ideals. And if Fujiyoshi rejected them, we would be a hollow shell of our former selves. And it is not like any of the other three families would want to merge with us. The head of the spider's family, the priestess of the spider, had a dark background befitting that title, and the future was bleak for her as well. The Uematsu were in a natural relic of the past, and by cutting them off, the other three families would be able to further modernize themselves. Despite no chance of the family recovering, Rikaku Uematsu was born into an unenviable position and grown to be another bedroom woman servant. I wasn't capable of claiming I could understand her. It wasn't an exaggeration to say we lived in different worlds. It would have been absurd to even claim that I could take on her despair. You are truly gentle. I couldn't understand what she meant at all, so I thought about it for a few seconds before I would ask. You heard all that, yet you did not curse me as filthy or talk me down. But this gentleness hurts. If you simply curse me, I would find it much easier to give up. I think I understand how Serizawa-sama feels now. There's a 15? What? I guess we're gonna give up, but what's 15? What? Why did the locals think it natural to put themselves down and give up on what they wanted? Was it common for local breakups to be considered the woman's responsibility? Or were men the ones who dumped while the women simply continued pinning or something? Was it a custom? All I'd say to that was eat shit, but perhaps the ones making the mistakes were the ones who fell in love with girls like that. Is that the first 15? Sorry, I'm double checking. I think it's the first 15. And we're at 14, so we're probably going to be getting 15 here. I think that is our first 15. Is that enough? Can I ask just one more thing? Yes. You're a family head. Do you have anything to do with the secrets behind the feast? No. I do not know what the Miguruma are thinking, but the bedroom women servants must be of no value to them. Then why were you so certain you could let me escape? The silence wasn't too long. I'm a descendant of an old family that lived in superstition. I use my powers as such to take in your poison. I thought that perhaps I could use it to let you escape. There's nothing more to it. That made sense. And now that she used divinity as a basis, there was no room for me to argue. Is that enough? Yes, thank you. I believe you. I guess it's time to sleep. Hope we see each other again tomorrow. You shall not die tonight. The spider, sent to us by Shine-sama, will protect you. She was basically saying that she would protect me. When you say that, it's strangely believable. Nothing. Give my regards to Mako. Certainly. Why? I'll probably mention this again tomorrow, but if I ask you, please tell the truth. That will end this game. If you're not with us at that point, I'll take Mako to the police. Thank you. I believe you. That was the end of that. Still behind the door, she gave me a boring goodbye and left. Remarkably fatigued, I collapsed onto the futon. It was pretty thin, so the hard floor below hurt my shoulders, but I couldn't be bothered to even react. Did I actually just break up with 2 women in one evening? Yes, you did. It hadn't even been that long since I broke up with Mitsuji. I guess that's her name, and I already made a habit of it. I'd gone on a trip because of a breakup only to find more of them. If I couldn't escape, maybe I'd be happiest if I just came in through Saranaga like last time and enjoyed some time at Chiemi. Was there a better path to take now? I couldn't tell anyone. Wolves were out and about tonight, yet here I was thinking about this stuff. Was something wrong with my head? Well, there probably was, but this wrongness was different. Still, I saw how things would go. There was one thing that bothered me, though. Would Rikako-san survive? The question, no worry, remained floating in my brain. I tried to let go of my consciousness. Okay, so human, right? So Yoshitsugu's human. But like since we know that for a fact, nothing. I woke up to came to me as a surprise. I hadn't died. I'd known it'd be that way. All that remained was figuring out how to end things. I merely had to find a compromise between what was happening and what I felt. No, there were two more things to consider. The wolves could go out of control before the feast even begun. I didn't know who I had to mourn today. It was 5 a.m. and everything was still covered in mist. I could see things better than at night, but not by a whole lot. Was Kanzo-san patrolling again? He was no longer like he had been yesterday morning, so I could hope that he was, but he no longer had a gun. The fact that he, a confirmed human, was patrolling like that was actually pretty good for us. I carefully took a step forward. The wolves were liable to appear from the mist at any moment, so I stuck around just in case. However, this was a world of mist and ominous silence. As I walked, the grass swayed, and the crunching of the gravel felt loud enough to be heard by the entire village. In fact, even the sound of my heartbeat was deafening. To hell with this, I had to put myself together. If they were coming, I surely would have heard them too. I just had to stand still to know if I was in danger. I didn't hear anything. There was no one. Perhaps everyone was hiding. As I began suspecting that a murderer was about to pop out of nearby bushes, I stopped running. I went to the side of the road and hid myself. I carefully thought about the situation. If you looked at the feast as a game, the judges were mostly uninvolved in its progression, leaving it to the players. They only dispensed supernatural deaths to those who killed more than one, or humans who walked around at night. It was really minimal intervention. On the other hand, though, that didn't mean they would stick to the rules and keep the number of victims under 2. And so far, the sides that were cornered tried to kill people even if it meant getting the death penalty. It happened every time. In other words, observance of the rules wasn't valued, meaning that having more deaths than allowed was not a problem. Not only were the humans unprotected, but the wolves, who saw justice in the real story, were entirely capable of disregarding the corruption to commit murder. Looking at it that way, I had no idea what the Game Master, Great Lord Shinai, was trying to accomplish. Did he just want to see bloodshed? In that case, why the roundabout method? He was the god of the mountain. The corruption was his law. The Yomi Buddha were the enemy, but it wasn't clear whether the ones sent to Yomi were the humans or wolves. It made so little sense. If the corruption was the power of Yomi, it wasn't even clear where the boundary between the mountain and Yomi was. In other words, it was safe to think that the mountain and Yomi were the same thing. Shinai was both the mountain and Yomi, a two-faced god who split the Fujiyoshi people worshipping him into two opposing factions on a whim. His aim was this very bloodshed. The mist, the village, everything here was like a coliseum to him. Hunting ground, basically. Had to be overthinking things. However, the fact that the rules weren't strict and the punishment wasn't swift created an opening. There probably was a way to clear the game with minimal casualties. I had to make it through the situation, though. I made a gamble. After taking a deep breath, Kya! I screamed at the top of my lungs, then hid. If Kaizo-san or Takumi-san heard it, they were bound to come. If it was a wolf instead, they would make a move, wondering why something serious happened without their knowing. They couldn't catch me off guard if I hid and watched from the shadows. 5 minutes passed, yet I heard nothing. What if everyone was already dead? That was impossible. Maybe they knew I was thinking and were now planning to ambush me? I was just guessing, but you never knew what could happen in this mist. My next option was to sneak around to look around the whole village. I think everyone's dead. I would move swiftly and in short bursts. I'll make noise for sure, but it would also make it harder for any other potential lurkers to find me. The Kiba were large and had decent amount of space between them, making them good hiding places. I ran and hid, and then I held my breath. Nothing was happening. Not thinking much about it, I repeated the process. I ran and hid and stayed quiet. I ran and hid. Hey! Ah! Yoshitsugu-kun popped out of the stone I was aiming for and charged at me. I jumped to the side. A wood-cutting axe slashed through the place I was just standing in. Why are you trying to kill me? Fuck! Wait, it's me! Calm down! You! Fuck! He then angrily threw the axe away in a random direction and screamed. Fuck! 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 No point in sneaking around anymore, but this made me understand something. Your rage can only mean one thing. Was the one who died last night? Fuck. Okay. After waiting for him to calm down a bit, we began walking together, no longer trying to hide at all. If he made so much noise and survived regardless, it was safe to assume that there would be no ambushes. And if there was, it would be 2v2. We would be on equal footing. I didn't even do his voice, but fuck it. As expected, we made it to the plaza without anything happening. Yoshitsugu-kun hadn't said a word the whole way. He was just breathing heavily, like when he attacked me, and his eyes were so wide that his agitation seemed to become madness. Oh, look. Wow, Kaori died? Not waiting for an answer, I went to the dining hall. I was instantly assaulted by a strange reek. You would never eat here again. As I became certain of that fact, my heart sank, which was pretty out of character for me. I took a step forward. Why did Kaori die? The cupboard's glass was completely destroyed, and there was porcelain pieces all over the place. This had been caused by Yoshitsugu-kun's rampage. Her bed was upstairs. I went up carefully, just in case, but it didn't feel like there was anyone alive inside. The supports and walls were slightly damaged in places. Yoshitsugu-kun had taken it really hard, huh? Even the phone, the only one in the village, was completely broken and on the floor. After seeing it, I went further into her room. So she died, but not why. Why did the crow die? It was the same. The philosophy behind the murder was the same as Haruchan's. The bloody footprints were standard at this point. There was no doubt that this was done by wolves. What was different was that it wasn't a clobbering, but a slashing. Kaori Oribe's remains were cut up and drowning in a sea of blood. She hadn't been torn apart or split up randomly. It was best to say she had been cut into rings. Her body was lying on its back, covered neck to toe in horizontal slashes. They did make it to the bone, but didn't break through them. Her entire front was cut open like a fish fillet. I couldn't tell whether she died from blood loss or suffocation due to the multiple neck injuries, but whichever it was, she suffered an awful end. Yet again, for some reason, her face was left completely untouched. She clearly vomited lots of blood, and her expression was downright demonic. Had she been conscious while it was happening? Were the faces of the detestable wolves burned into her now dead eyes? Damn. I'd seen how intense this woman could be, and at this point, a part of me felt like it was the real her. However, no matter how demonic, she was definitely a loving mother to both her two sons, as well as Yasumizu as a whole. Looking at her reminded me of the Buddhist goddess demon Haridi, or Kishimonji, no matter how irrelevant that was. And oh boy, was it irrelevant. In Shine-sama's court, gods on the outside had absolutely no power. Suddenly, I realized that her arms were completely unharmed. I also noticed that some of the wounds seemed to be facing downwards. The back of the hand was facing upwards, while the palm was facing down despite the wounds being on the palm. Why? Upon further observation, I noticed something strange about her undamaged hand. Her fingers were in a peculiar position. Her right hand squeezed its pinky and ring finger. Meanwhile, her left was grasping all the fingers except the thumb. Had she been conscious while she'd gotten these wounds? Had she bent her arms and pushed her fingers on the floor into this position? Was it the shape created by her painful, absurd end? Or perhaps some sort of message? No idea. Yoshitsugu-kun had caught up with me, with Yasunaga-kun in tow. Mom. That it? What are you getting at? Do you understand how I feel? You want me to wail or something? I'm grieving too. This is pure despair, but I need to think so I can avenge her. Mom always told me to think a lot, study a lot, and become a hallmark of excellence so that Dad could rest in peace. I'm jealous of you. You don't have to deal with that. You lived however you wanted. You still got all Mom's attention. In the end, I've been clinging to something so childish my whole life and always wasted time on such useless thoughts. I still thought that all these walls between us would be gone when you grew up and Mom became unreasonable. That's impossible now. It makes me feel empty. Anaki, please don't say stuff like that. Mom's gone. She always said something if we were being troublesome, but she's no longer here. Why are you being troublesome at a time like this? I'll avenge her. I'll find out what these fingers mean, understand it, and chase down who did it. That'll be the end of my involvement with her. Mom, I loved you. Mom loved you. Forget, he's much younger. You know, you always piss me off too. When we talk, she always talk about you. She'd do it with others too. Hell, she even talk about you when she was by herself. You lived in the dorm, so you didn't know this, but recently she often talked to Dad's photo, always about you. You're lying. I'm not. She loved you more than me. Of course she did. You're better than me. That's why she pushed this shit on me. Fuck. Suddenly he pushed me aside, went forward, and reached for her body. Hey, what are you doing? I'm so sorry. All choked up, he screamed and opened his dead mother's mouth. Shit, it ain't here. Yoshitsugu, stop. Did she swallow something? Tsunaga-kun's eyes widened at my question, while Yoshitsugu-kun reached for the wound on her neck. Mom! Found it. What he took out was something small and covered in blood. He cleaned it with his fingers, exposing something transparent. Apparently it was something covered in food wrapping. Anaki, open it. You told me to dig through her body if she died. Give what I found to you. She really did love you more than me. Wake the fuck up! Musashi-san. Sorry, but could you open it for me? My hands are shaking. I felt apologetic. I probably wasn't even supposed to be here in the first place. So fucking true, dude! You're in the wrong spot, buddy. So I would at least do this much. The wrap had a rolled piece of paper inside. When I unrolled it, I realized just how small it was. There was tiny but legible writing on it. The wrap protected any damage caused by blood or saliva, so I could read it clearly. 1. Rikako Uematsu. 2. Chiemi Serizawa. 3. Chikamochi Kamoshida. 4. Mako. 5. Other. shit. I can't see it. It's her fingers. Please read this together, you two. I always knew you were concerned about my attitude. I wanted Yasunaga to show what he's capable of somewhere far away from this dreadful place. I would be too worried if I didn't have Yoshitsugu at my side. I came this far with such thoughtlessness, but it doesn't seem like I will survive this night, so please understand this much. I love both of you more than anything in the world. Please forget everything aside from that and have fun, brotherly life. This wasn't something I could read for them. I just spread it out and put it out on the simple dresser on my side. It says you two should read it together. I'll leave, but before that, let me examine your mother's remains a bit. They didn't say a word, and I took that as a yes. I walked up to the remains. Again, I checked the wounds on the palms are facing down. The right hand's thumb, index finger, and middle finger were up, while on the left it was only the thumb. So 3 and 1. Mochi and Rikako. So Rikako's actually a wolf, I think, is what it means. I looked into the wound Yoshitsugu-kun had reached into and extended my finger toward it. I opened it up and examined the cut. There was just one large tube. I see. I'm done here. I'll wait with everyone else downstairs. Takumi-san was standing at the entrance to the dining hall, along with everyone else. He was armed with a farming tool, while Kanzo-san had a hunting knife. It was obvious that they walked around all of Yasumizu and woke everyone up. Thus, they understood the situation. The Oribe brothers and I missed them because we left our houses earlier than they came to us. They probably woke up early because they were worried about their mother. Takumi-san wasn't saying a word. He just cast his eyes down and tightly pursed his lips. He vehemently ignored his urge to run to Kaori-san. As a man who couldn't, or was too late to, become their father, he thought he might have no right to step into their family matters. It was a tragedy, from start to finish. Good morning, everyone. This might be a bad time for this, but I now understand everything. Once they're back, I propose we start the final feast. It took a whole hour. I didn't hear any loud noises from upstairs the entire time. That was why when they came downstairs with red eyes, we all understood that they'd been quietly crying. Everyone slightly agreed with my proposal, and we all went to the hall. We all had our sake, and the eldest among us spoke. We're starting the feast. Yasunaga-kun instantly raised his hand. May I, Fusashi-san? I don't mind. Then, I declare that Rikaku Uematsu and Chikamochi Kamoshida are wolves. Huh? Wait, didn't you believe Uematsu? Saving the snake, Fusashi-san, from death made her trustworthy, but not completely. In fact, by getting Fusashi-san on her side, she probably avoided becoming the target of his ability last night. That might have been her intention. I don't know what just happened, but it minimized. Something happened? Did something pull up? No, we're good. Alright, weird. Well, it's true that I investigated Yoshitsugu-kun last night. You suspected me? What was the result? He's a human. I knew it. That means the only ones whose identities we don't know are Rikaku Uematsu, Meiko, Chini, and Mochi. However, my now late mother, Kari Oribe, did the final filtering for us. We reached into his pocket and took out the letter from before, Kari-san's final words. Everyone came closer and read it. Some began to choke up and cry, but everyone knew that what mattered right now was the message she left to the brothers. 1. Rikaku Uematsu. 2. Chiemi Serizawa. 3. Chikamochi Kamoshida. 4. Meiko. 5 other. What does this part mean? This is a list of people Mom found most suspicious, written in her handwriting. It includes those who weren't confirmed to be human by the snake or anything else. Chini, Mochi, Uematsu-san, Meiko. Mom excluded herself, obviously. Yoshitsugu isn't here because she simply trusted him. He also left another point, just in case Fusashi-san or someone else turned out to be the wolves. Though, even if it was other, there would be a hint that Fusashi-san was lying, which would be invaluable to us. She used this to leave us a message. Wait, this is just a list of names. How do you turn this into a hint? The number of fingers Mom was holding up. Most of you didn't see it, but her fingers were in strange positions. Fusashi-san, Yoshitsugu, you remember how they were, right? The right was clenching the pinky and the ring finger, while the left was clenching all besides the thumb. She held up 3 on her right and 1 on her left, didn't she? Yeah, that's right. The number of fingers are pointing to the wolves? Yes, when the wolves come, you wouldn't have the time to leave a message like this. That's why she wrote it down and swallowed it. Good. Paper isn't tasty. True words, Meiko! True words! Be silent, Meiko. Oni-chan, you're scary. You had to go that far? Now you must remember Haru-chan's death. Just like Mom, she was brutally killed in her futon. There was no sign of resistance from her. Mom's surroundings were a mess, but that was because... I went apeshit. Yes, that means that they both died while for some reason being unable to resist, or had their remains damaged after they were killed. That means that while you're dying, you aren't in a state to do anything, and the wolves are watching too. It's hard to imagine that you could leave any dying message in that situation, but Mom found a loophole. You see, it's hard to think you could write a message using your own blood or something. The wolves would see and just erase it. Exactly, you can't leave any major info. However, if you write the actual information somewhere else and provide the bare minimum needed to find it, that would be more than enough. Mom's way was using her fingers, and the wolves didn't notice. I didn't think it was possible to go around the feast rules like this. I must admit, it was too hard-headed. I refused to try anything impossible Mom didn't. She went as far as to swallow this, so I can only imagine how dedicated she was to leave this message. That is all. Uematsu, so you killed her, huh? So we should have hanged her yesterday. No, that's not true. That's pretty sloppy, Yasun. Is that really enough to conclude that Richan and I are the culprits? Exactly. I know full well that I'm no wolf, in which case, I can only say that Oribe-sama's fingers have to be some sort of mistake. What if you're supposed to read it differently? What if she counted the bent fingers? That means Chiemi and Mako, the complete opposite. But Mako is not a wolf, and neither am I. If Yoshitsugu Oribe-sama is a human, then it must be Serizawa-sama and Kamashida-sama. Oribe-sama's fingers must be some sort of mistake. What are you saying? It's not me. Yeah, it does really make sense. Honestly, I think we should look into the possibility that Hassan's a wolf. He looked at me with suspicious eyes. Apparently, even almost dying from poison wasn't enough to earn their unconditional trust. We haven't settled it yet, Yasu. I have no doubts that the wolves are Rikako, Uematsu, and Shikamochi Kamoshida. Do you have anything to support the trustworthiness of the message? I didn't want to say it, but when the poisoner used aconite, I thought of you. Oh, I see. Because he's an Osato? Well, it is true that we learned how to handle poisonous plants. Araki-san, do you remember if you ate something leaf-like when you were poisoned? I've been on guard, so of course I remembered. There was some largest onion and cabbage pieces, but I didn't see anything strange. Exactly. We all checked your bowl afterwards, and it didn't look like there was any aconite inside. That must mean the poison was in fluid form, extracted from the plant itself. The only ones here capable of doing that are Kiyonosuke Nosato-san and him, the ex-heir apparent to the family, who knows a lot about herbs, poisonous or otherwise. Good to know! That reminded me that last time, Kori-san just cut the cut leaves, and Kiyonosuke-san had instantly noticed. Really? Don't we all know what aconite looks like? Anyone can think of extracting the poison, right? Why aren't you just saying something that it's not you? But it isn't. I mean, look at my arms. There's no way I can cut up a corpse. How did you know that Mom's body was cut up? Everything seemed to grind to a halt. Damn! You said the wrong word, you bitch! Yasunaga Oribe glared at his ex-friend with both anger and a bit of grief. Shikamochi Kamoshida looked back at him with a poker face. So Kori-san's message is true. Yes. Kamoshida-sama, that cannot be true. Alright, hold it. I got some looks that could kill. I had to do it. Everything depended on it. I believe Yasunaga-kun is on the right path and that Kori-san's work is invaluable for us. However, I believe there are some things you failed to consider. What is it? I'm all ears. Same here. What is it? Ignoring the somewhat antagonistic tone, look at Kori-san's body. All of it was covered in cuts except for the face and hands. First of all, why did they ignore those places? Consider Haru-chan. Her face was intact, but her hands certainly weren't. I felt bad about making them remember things they didn't want to, but I had no choice. I think I can understand leaving the face. Considering how brutal the murder is, the face being untouched just makes it more cruel. But what about the hands? Fingers are easier to cut than any other part of the body. Why did they leave them? Wouldn't you say it seems artificial? Like whoever did it wanted to leave a dying message? Artificial? Yes, to cut to the chase, the wolves left them like that to trick us. Hold the fuck on, the paper had Mom's writing! Oh, and it must be. I don't doubt that. Kari-san likely swallowed it for the plan you mentioned. And Yoshitsugu-kun was told to take it out in case something happened, right? Yeah, I was. I think that's flawed, since all secrets are likely to be leaked out into the open, but I'm not going to talk about the possibilities. The problem is that the way she was killed didn't let her leave this message. You think she couldn't have resisted because she couldn't move a finger? Not sure about that. Maybe yes, maybe no. Instead of speculating, I would just ask Nosato-san. Me? Yes. Can you clench your hand with deep cuts all over your arm? That is impossible. The muscles that move the joints in the fingers are connected to the arm, not the palm. What? If she put their fingers into those positions before she was cut, her hand should have opened when the muscle was damaged. On the other hand, if she wanted to do it after the cuts, she couldn't grasp her fingers anymore. I see, so that's why the wounds were facing down. They were? Yes, the wounds in the arms alone were facing the floor instead of up. She couldn't clench her fingers, so she moved her arms against the floor to force the fingers into that position, and you really think she could? Her arms were destroyed so badly, I highly doubt she could move them. Though, this is a matter of likelihood too, so let's assume there was a 50% chance she could do it. So far, the only unnatural thing is that the fingers were unharmed, grasped, and that the secret talk didn't leak. There's also another strange thing about it. She was injured in her neck too. It was a deep wound, but it didn't seem to reach the bone. There was one large tube in the cut. Nosato-san, what's the first tube you come across from cutting the throat? Trachea. That means Yoshitsugu-kun took the paper out of the trachea, the tube that passes air when breathing. With something stuck in a place like that, you'd quickly suffocate. There's no way she could have gotten it in there. That is true. We have the cough reflex. If you swallow something, it's bound to pass the esophagus instead of the trachea and end up in the stomach. Damn! Haraki! Throwing all of... Oh, good shit, dude. Good shit. Also, just like Haru-chan, she vomited out a lot of blood. The letter must have left her body when she was being murdered, and the wolves must have noticed it. The letter is real, but it was stuffed into her throat afterwards. But the wolves... by wolves who don't know anatomy. Then, yes, the hands were unharmed because they wanted to pass on a false message. The wounds on the arms were reversed because the number of fingers up wouldn't stay that way unless they used the floor to do so. Also, it's likely that the wolves heard her talk about swallowing the letter and went out of their way to search for it. These wolves are really fixated on destroying the remains. By being thorough about that, they prevented any chance of the humans leaving such messages, at least that's what I think. They're really meticulous, astute, and cunning. A bit tired of talking, I felt silent for a moment, and no one spoke up in my place. They were all at a loss for words. That's why Kuroi-san's fingers are a red herring. We can't base our accusations on that. Hanzo Makishima-san. Have the dead left many messages in previous feasts? There's all used to say. The dead only tell the Yomotsu Okami's lies. There you had it. I like those words. They were on theme with the story, too. You can't trust dying messages. By merely proving that, Kuroi-san contributed to us immensely. I understand and agree. With all this new knowledge I didn't have, it does seem very suspicious. Then who are the wolves? What does Mochi's slip of the tongue mean? I already have the answer. Rikaku-san, what did you say before we talked about this? If Yoshitsugu Oribe-sama is a human, then I and Miko are human as well. That leaves just Chikamochi Kamasita-san and Shiemi Serizawa-sama. Her words were slow, and so was everyone else's reaction. Slowly, they turned to Shiemi, who almost never faced suspicion this whole feast. True. No way. I mean, what? Well, I don't want to believe that too, but there's nothing that says it isn't Rikaku-san, right? Then I would let her do the talking. Rikaku-san, you're at the spider, are you? Correct. I knew it. Naturally, the impact of that revelation was great. You could tell by just looking at everyone's shocked faces. Who is the real spider? Mako. Are you sure, Oni-chan? Yes, I trust Haruaki-sama. Yeah, I'm the spider. I had Oni-chan's thing on my tummy. You pointed at Rikaku-san's brooch. What? Did you see her guardian mark? Of course not. That is a taboo act. That would render me deserving of the corruption. However, as a bedroom woman servant, it is my role to watch over the darkness in Fujiyoshi. So, in the case that the mist came and this girl became involved, I taught her a few things, since she could not read yet, and so I could help her. I remember the symbols! Yay! What are you drawing? Those are guardians. Guardians? You said if I'm the spider, my leg starts to hurt. Oni-chan, I rolled in my futon, hit my leg. It hurts. But later, I'll make it better with some magic words. And if you were the snake, my eyes would hurt. And the crow, my tummy would hurt. And a wolf, my head would hurt. Miko was talking way more than usual. She probably wanted to talk a lot during the feast, but we never gave her a chance to. And the monkey? Then I don't have to say it. That is because I cannot claim to be her when she is the monkey. I see, but how did Mako write down the names of the people she protect as the spider? I wrote them down myself, then gave it to her when changing her clothes. It doesn't have to be the one with the guardian themselves who writes it? I was not sure, so I had her copy my writing. I learned lots of hiragana! This might be an actual loophole in the feast rules. Secret talks during the day are never actually secret, but if you somehow encrypt the information ahead of time, and the wolves who got it couldn't decipher it, they probably wouldn't even recognize it as info. And no one would think that such a little girl was bending the rules. When we looked at it as a game, it was clearly unfair. However, when our lives were on the line, we couldn't really care about that. Anyway, though Rikaku-san wasn't the spider, she was like her representative and used this position to protect Kanzo-san once. You seemed the most important one of us back then, but I could not predict that they would attack Harumakishima-sama next. It's fine. A spider that protects one is a good spider. I thought it was weird. The spider normally has no reason to out themselves. It was strange that we had two. That was true, but with the old wolf guy being the other candidate, I really couldn't understand why it had happened. Still, there was no point in thinking about that in this loop. I suspected this on the first day. When she insisted I voted for her instead of Mako. She was probably thinking of becoming Mako's shield, coming out as a fake spider and letting the real one live on. Also, since you told Mako to tell you if she was a wolf. Yes, I intended to kill her, except for the corruption. And since I knew the truth, I was able to reduce the suspects to just 3. All that was left was to confirm which one of them was human. That would mean that the other 2 were wolves. The process of elimination. If you picked a wolf, you still wouldn't know the last one. I see. So you picked the least suspicious one of the 3, Yoshitsugu. More or less. Oh, so you didn't suspect me. Now, after hearing all that, can you still say this is all just a well-crafted fabrication? And you, the 2 who have left thanks to the process of elimination. Do you have any excuses that would work to prove you aren't the wolves? If I am, why was I a wolf in Mommy Kurio's false info? Yes, it makes no sense. Why do the wolves have to mix true information with the false? Because he's the decoy. How do you believe I was poisoned? Yes, that still isn't clear. That's why Lady Oribe was suspected. She was the only one who could target. Wait. Yeah, she's the only possible option if you're aiming specifically for me anyway. I see, so that's how it was. It didn't matter who died. Exactly. I wasn't a target at all. Man, we're coming up with revelations. Jesus. I wasn't a target at all. They didn't care about who died. Whoa, hold on. What do you mean? They targeted you because you're the snake, right? That's the very source of the misunderstanding. It just so happened that the poison bowl went to me. He probably found a chance to get poison in a bowl and took it. Maybe it was just a drop in the top bowl. He had more than enough opportunities to do something that simple. And when it was time to eat, the wolves just avoided their bowls and chatted while watching if something was happening to the others. They only eat after they saw who got the poison. After the chaos that followed it was impossible to tell if someone was avoiding the food. If no one ended up getting poisoned, it would mean that one of their bowls had the poison, so they'd say they weren't feeling hungry and excuse themselves. Anyway, doing that would reduce the humans by 1. Makishima-san, Takumi-san, and Yasunaga-kun have a lot of influence here. Masato-san's position here is complicated. Rokako-san is a self-proclaimed spider, while I'm the snake. You can say that most of the humans are worth killing for them. If the poison killed someone, the only suspect would be the cook and the only one who could target someone, Kaori-san, the self-proclaimed crow. You almost died because of a simple coincidence, but since I just revealed that I was the snake, it was extremely effective. If I died because of this, the wolves wouldn't have killed Kaori-san and she would have been hanged today. I took a few breaths. Everyone was silent, probably because they were reflecting on the way they suspected her yesterday. But not only did I survive, Uematsu-san's strange power that saved me helped her gain some levels of trust. That being the case, they assumed that she would use her spider powers to protect me, meaning they couldn't kill me that night either. They probably did consider killing her, but as she proves time and time again, her position here in Fujiyoshi is extremely poor. It was enough for her to be hanged if measured against Chimichan. They could kill her in the daytime, so they decided to kill Kaori-san instead. Whether that was a good second option aside, I don't think it's unlikely for these two to think that way. Now, back to the matter at hand, killing 2 people in one day makes you a target of the corruption. That means that Chikamochi Kamoshida poisoned the bowl knowing what would happen. He probably did it even while knowing that he, as a disowned Nosato child, would be the prime suspect. Typically, it's hard for all the wolves to survive if they actively faked having guardians, they would certainly end up hanged. However, thanks to some form of unity between them, they could choose scapegoats from among them to serve the role of the faker or the rule breaker. That's Chikamochi Kamoshida's role. That's why he was probably ready to die because of Kaori-san's final message. However, if Rokako-san was hanged today, they could kill me today, make a mess of things, and maybe even survive. That's what they were betting on, I assume. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work. He looked down with a half-smile gathering everyone's attention. That seems really one-sided. I mean, we have no proof that Hassan or Richan are what they claim to be. He brought up something we've already been over already, and since that was all they had left, and maybe he could actually read Mami Kaori's fingers some other way. Mochi, that's enough. It's getting cringeworthy. Then, yeah. What the fuck? I am attracted. I like her crazy face. He has a shotgun. He does too. Let's kill them all. Everyone here had a certain hope. They believed that if exposed wolves would admit it and give themselves in. It'd be too late for them to keep struggling after all. Certainly they wouldn't attack the humans head on. Certainly their ex-neighbors wouldn't be that malicious and murderous. I couldn't blame them for their optimism. I was the only one who knew how badly Yasunaga Oribe changed last time, so I should have been the one to take care. However, even I could be taken off guard. I knew that the current wolves were wicked, but I thought it was because of Chikamochi Kamoshida, the boy with unusual tendencies and devilish intuition. I knew that she could use a gun, but I didn't expect her to whip one out right in front of us. She was the girl who told me to leave her and run, despite the invisible god terrorizing her. The girl who opened herself up to me despite knowing it wasn't meant to be. Never would have thought she'd bring a gun to this place and try to take everyone with her. The turn was so unexpected that the smart ones here were frozen. Those who hadn't suspected her weren't moving either. The ones who did, Jimmy, stop! Was the most proactive among us. You fool! The one who didn't trust anyone. When the first shot was fired, the buckshot aimed at the end of the circle was blocked by Takumi-san's body. His large frame absorbed the bullets, bursting apart. Well, he's dead. Past his collapsing body, I saw her face, a beastly smile. A moment later, Chikamochi Kamoshida fired his own gun. Kanzoshi was charging toward him with a clenched fist, and the shot blew off his face. Next! Beyond the bloody mist they left behind, I saw the eyes of a bird of prey. Run! The next person Shimi aimed at was Yoshitsugu-kun, who was trying to charge at her. That was when Kanzo-san on the verge of death landed a punch on Chikamochi, as I absentmindedly watched. Kyo, Fusashi, it's up to you. I felt like I heard that voice, which snapped me out of my torpor. Kyonosuke was the same in that regard. Our eyes met, and then I hurried to take Rokako-san and Meiko's hands, while he grabbed Yasunaga-kun by the shoulders. Without even seeing the results of the third shot, we ran straight for the exit. Holy shit, dude! We were closer to the exit than the elder side. We heard another gunshot, but we weren't in a situation to turn around. Rokako-san dropped to the ground, letting out a cry as she did, and ended up basically dragging her so we could evade our assailants. Kyonosuke saw that. His expression changed, and he, still holding Yasunaga-kun's hand, used his open hand to push my shoulder. I felt like there was a silent understanding between us. Not saying a thing, he hurriedly let go of Yasunaga-kun and took Rokako-san's hand, while I took Yasunaga-kun's now empty hand. was a rational action. However, I probably thought that I had no right to hold her by the hand, a feeling which made it hard for me to run. Yunosuke staunchly grasped her and started running. Following his example, I took Mako under my arm and started running, pulling Yasunaga-kun with me. The young man seemed to be in a stupor. Buddy, you're gonna die. You need to run. Was it just me, or was the mist even denser than usual? I probably felt that way because I was running, making the lack of visibility way more dangerous. I followed the gravel path and ran up a hill. It's okay, I can run by myself now. Hearing that clear voice, I let go of his hand. Where should we run? The Misato Mansion. It's the sturdiest building here. That made sense. The other two were going there too, so if we regrouped and held our ground there. She's covered in blood. Suddenly I heard laughter coming from the side. It almost made me freeze, but I held myself together and lowered my head. Another gunshot. I could clearly feel the bullets fly past the top of my head. Chidi, why? Keep running! Ah! Miko cried for the first time ever. I had to keep running while closing her mouth. I expected Yasunaga-kun to be right behind me, but I couldn't hear his footsteps anymore. Please stop. He was probably trying to convince Chiyame. Always liked you, you know. The feeling ain't mutual. The brief exchange. Holy shit. Oh my god. A brief exchange of the gunshot that followed seemed strangely clear. Holy fuck. Please don't make it sound, Mako. Shit. Was this the end of the line for this loop? With Japan being a mostly gun-free society, their power could easily be both overestimated as well as underestimated, making it hard for us to gauge. However, here in the mist, where I could barely see anything and could be a hit at point-blank range by surprise, I was all too aware. Guns are frightening tools that can end a life with a single pull of a trigger. True. Araki-san, where are you? I made it to Taya Mawaki-san's house, hid behind it and waited. I had to catch my breath and figure out my best route to the Misato Mansion. By following this path, I could pass the collapsed construction site and arrive at the mansion. That was the fastest way there, but I wasn't sure it was safe. Come out, I'll help you. Yeah, right. Hearing that cheerful voice, I heard the unlocked door open up. I ran as fast as I could, but she caught up easily, probably due to her healthy legs and familiarity with the land. Mako was trying really hard not to scream. I was hoping that she could hold it in. Hearing someone enter, I counted to 5 and snuck out. I didn't sense anyone following me. Fucking lucky ass. Going down the hill, I passed the plaza and continued making my way to the Misato Mansion, hoping they missed me. Putting Mako on my back, I continued sneaking. This was the second time I reached the final stage with her by my side. Was it fate or something? I mean, they don't want to kill a kid. Shaking away that question, I went ahead. I kept moving forward. I quickly found out I was being too naive. Funny. There was a person right before the mansion. You're way funnier now than when you were alive, Uncle. There was a mess that looked vaguely human in front of him. He poked at it with something long and thin, probably a shotgun. Anyway, guess it just leaves you, doesn't it, Hassan? I didn't know whether it was because he was a wolf or from the Crow family, but hiding behind a Okiba was enough to fool him. Oh, if you turn around and run, I'm gonna hit Mako-chan back and kill her. You don't want that, do you? He was right. That aside, can you just face me? Old man Kanzo uncle did. It's more fun to me this way. The sappy attitude he'd given us in the latter part of the feast was nowhere to be seen. Faking his behavior to keep up the act just because he was a wolf must have been stressful for him. Right now I was close to him, and could tell by his expression that he was extremely refreshed. But man, Yunosuke seemed to have struggled, probably to let Rikaku-san escape. He had guts in him somewhere, after all. I don't like shooting people in the back like you did with Richan. It was in poor taste. Fuck. Let Mako run away. That would fly. I'm Nakami-sama, you know? Kill at the top Yomibito, just walk away. No, she could just return to Yomi on her own or something. Is he bound by the curse of the real story? I let Mako go. Go down the cliff until you reach the river. Can you do that? Doing that probably meant getting the same ending as last time, but it wasn't impossible that she'd make it. Maybe it wasn't with us. Maybe if the little girl was alone. Whatever the case, it was better than just letting her get shot. Sayuki-san! It's fine, it's gonna work out. Most importantly, if I died here, all of this would return to nothing and I'd loop. I'd actually reached the point where I considered that in my calculations. Go! Bye-bye. As she started to run, yeah, nah, just kidding. Chikamochi Kamoshida began aiming at her again. I felt intense anger. I couldn't understand him at all. Was this how they really were? Or was this caused by the real story? My body moved before my messed up brain, which was something I didn't expect. My instinct to protect children must have taken over. I heard the gunshot, then felt the lead bullets bite into my body. Yeah! Because of the poor visibility and because the buckshot was small, probably meant for birds, the wound wasn't fatal. Still, the pain assaulting my body felt like I was pierced by a dull tip of a sword. I staggered a bit, then fell to my knees. It hurt a lot. I didn't feel Mako behind me. She must have ran away without looking back. No idea if that meant anything. It hurt. Fuck, it hurt a lot. What was that about? Why would you die for her? You're supposed to play with me, Hassan. Get it? Play with me. Ignore my pain, he just said that. Oh well, if you're not up for it, maybe I can turn you into a funny corpse. That's not what we agreed upon, Mochi. As I heard that voice, I looked up and saw Chikamochi Kamoshida was dead. The wolf that popped out of the mist wielded a blade instead of a gun. What the fuck? Jimmy just killed Mochi! I said, I'm gonna take Haraki-san. It was an extremely sharp kitchen knife. It was embedded to the hilt in the other wolf's head. The boy quickly collapsed without saying a word. Jamie grabbed his weapon, checked the chambers, and clicked her tongue. Then she walked up to the boy's corpse. Out of shots. What a waste of bullets. You suck, Mochi. I moved the knife from his head. The body jerked for a moment, then lay still. She looked at the weapon, but with gray matter, then threw it away. I wondered what she'd do next, and she took a new weapon out of her sleeve. It was like her entire body was a weapon. I began to question just how well I'd actually known her. Araki-san, you're all alone now. It's just the two of us. Not like that means much. She sounded bored, but I could feel the bloodlust and malice behind her words. Can't say anything anymore, huh? Why? Oh, you can talk. Good to know. Why are you doing this? Can you blame me? There's no other way for us, is there? I didn't think you were like this. I don't know if it's the law or legend or whatever, but I always thought you always resisted, no matter how scary it was. Yet you... Too bad. She spoke with unbridled malice. You think it's because Shine-san said it. That's just stupid. It's God that makes making everyone dance like they are. Listen, I just really wanted to kill. Yeah, I even returned back home just because I wanted to kill someone. That's why I'm feeling great right now. Too bad, Romeo. That's how I always was. You have no luck with women, do you? That was just... I thought about what it would be like to kill you from the moment I met you. In a way, this moment is like a dream come true. I'm breaking the rules, so I'll be just a pile of meat tonight. This will be my final bit of fun before that happens. So now, let's make a bet. All my curiosity about the mystery, the fear, the path leading to it, even the pain were all gone. Only pride was left. Give me 10 minutes. I'll use them to run away. Once that time's up, you chase after me. If I get away, I win. If you win, I'm going to set my own rules. I'll die with love for you. That sounds great. Even if it was meaningless, insane dead end, I would go and die my own way. Albeit staggering, I could still run if I ignored the pain. Blood was flowing out of all the wounds on my body, so I was probably leaving an easy-to-follow trail behind me. Even so, I ran uphill towards Kamafuji-yoshi. I knew that the path was closed off here. The last loop, Haruchan had entered the mountain and gotten stuck. The Misty Mountain was a separate realm avoided by the people of Yasumizu, perhaps like when they left through Saranaga. I was about to get lost in the mist and die to some monster. Even so, if I brought Chemi here, I could maybe give a chance for Mako to escape, and that was good enough for me. If she wasn't coming after me, it was unlikely that she'd go after Mako instead. Chemi would be left in the village all by herself to her own insanity. In that case, I figured I had to try running away through here at least once. I'd give it up on trying to understand her insanity this time around. Next time. Yeah, I'd think about it next time. I passed the cliff and reached the mountain. The mist was even denser than usual. I looked down and noticed that a lot of the road was covered by a landslide. The earth, sand, and collapsed trees made it pretty much impossible to walk past here. I couldn't tell if it was artificial, nor did I have the knowledge to investigate and find out. I just followed the path. The 10 minutes had already passed, so Chemi must have been tailing me. Whenever I stopped, I felt I could hear the sound of rustling grass in the distance. She was chasing me. From what I could tell, she was actually following the winding mountain path. That was good for me. I wanted her to keep it up. It made this more interesting. Maybe she wasn't really trying to catch me? The distance between us wasn't closing at all. It suddenly became a bit dizzy. There was the largest tree nearby. I sat down next to it so I can catch my breath. My vision suddenly turned dim. I quickly opened my eyes, but I had a bad feeling, like I'd actually been out cold for a decent while. I tried standing up and realized I couldn't move my limbs properly. I must have lost too much blood. The end was close. My old senses told me my pursuer was nearby. I tried finding the path again, but I couldn't for some reason. Apparently my sense of direction, perception, and judgment were fading too. Perhaps things would have worked out if I wasn't injured? No, this was a different realm. Though acknowledged by few, the outskirts of the village were the hunting ground of the merciless mountain god, Great Lord Shinai. The only ones free to move anywhere. I couldn't wait, so I just came down. With a madman siding with the mountain god. This was unreasonable, unscientific, superstitious, abnormal. Why was she up the mountain? I always sensed her coming from below. What was that about? Alright, now love me while I kill you. I couldn't even say a thing, but I felt like I still had a chance. I rolled down the mountain. Go, go, go! Do your best! Brimming with the joy of the hunt, Chemi chased after me. A part of me wanted the mountain to just collapse. My path was blocked off by the natural trees, plants, growth in general. You're so cute. My body was at its limit. Unable to tell whether my vision was turning dim or if the mist was becoming denser, I continued rolling. Ah! Used the last bits of my energy to face her. The wolf was coming. It was close. It would devour both my flesh and soul alike. I'd won the feast, so I hoped that the mountain god would at least save my soul. I'd gone through a load of difficult shit this far, so it wouldn't be unfair to let me have a peaceful ending, right? Yeah, I knew full well that the world wasn't such a kind place. The upcoming death would surely be more painful and desolate than any before. After all, I knew that the one granting it to me was a girl I'd once loved. I didn't want this. I never desired an ending like this. Shit! I didn't care if it made me look like a sore loser. I wanted to go out in a way that would leave a thorn in Chemi's heart. I thought a lot of meaningless things. What the fuck? How are you alive? But my words escaped me. The wolf's fang pierced the spider instead of me. Rikako, where the hell did you come from? Why? That was all I could say, physically and mentally. Why was she alive? Why was she here? Why did she protect me? This question spun in my head, but only the last one found an answer. Of course she would do this. She was a descendant of the Uematsu until the very end. Her sense of duty and justice hadn't faded, even on the brink of death. She glanced at me, completely denying my assumption. That wasn't it. She was simply obeying her wretched, unwavering heart. After all, I was special to her. Sorry. I said another word. Sorry I couldn't stay with Mako. Sorry I couldn't protect everyone. Sorry I talked a wolf into a gamble that made it impossible for me to look you directly in the eye. Yeah, you tried. That was the last word I would ever say. Even so, my eyes and ears were still active. Thus I witnessed everything that happened. Don't get in my way! With a maddened scream, the mad woman tried to pull the knife out, but she couldn't. It was probably snagged in her ribs, so badly that neither pushing nor pulling helped. Serizawa-sama. Her voice was hard to make out due to all the blood leaving her mouth, but it was calm, gentle even. I shall take in your corruption. What do you know? Yumi's corruption binds me no matter what. But I remember enough of this to think about what those words meant next time. My failing vision merged them into one, and I noticed Rikako-san's hand reached for Chimi's neck by chance. Her finger caught on something. It was something on a string. A pendant? This is... No! Don't look! Is it the necklace? Chimi released the knife, snatched the object back, and held it to her chest to hide it. Serizawa-sama. Her voice was dense with pain. Not only that, it was also tinged heavily with pity. I am so sorry. This is a corruption not even I can take in. I had no idea what those words meant, but... They carry the impact of a death blow for the wolf. I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! God! I'll kill you! Where are you? Where? I'll kill you, so come on out! Come out! With that scream, Chimi ran off somewhere, into the mist. She probably had no clear direction. Rikako-san collapsed. I am sorry, Araki-sama. Trying to move in her heavily-looking robe, she tried to crawl over to me. I could not protect Serizawa-sama or anyone else. She wasn't the only one. I thought the exact same thing. I really wanted to say that and go out with a smile, but I could barely even breathe. I used the very last of my power to collapse toward her. I then reached for her hand. Haruaki-sama. Her hand lay over mine. All life left our eyes as we gradually reduced to mere objects. Even so, her dying hand somehow felt warm. When we rise again, I will be more honest. Yeah, I wanted to respond to those feelings properly. I would destroy all my chances of losing, and I would leave the mist alongside this foolish, pure, lovable woman. Next time, for sure. What about Chiemi? But I like Chiemi, though. A key. Raging Loop. L-O-U-P? What? You could view it in the keys. Okay. Well, let's... Do I get a hint? Bad ending number 19. We also got to go back to do Rikako's bad ending, but we'll see that. You done it now, eh, Chief? But you couldn't have avoided this one, so don't worry about it. I'll give you a hint so you know how to avoid this horrible outcome. Bad ending 19, Wolves Desperation Annihilation Attack. As you saw in this ending, in order to solve this one, you have to go back to an earlier point and take measures so this outcome never happens. With key 15, you can now open that path. All you gotta do is return there. Specifically go to that. The events after that will change completely. The Wit route will soon reach its conclusion. It's been a long road, but it'll be so good to finally be rewarded. Well, that's it for this time. Die not a hearty death this time. That's key 15. All right, let's do Rikako's. Like if we vote for Rikako, let's do that one. Raging Loop. Okay. Sorry. We didn't do this one, so vote for Rikako. Doubting others was essentially my creed. That's because I believed it was more logical to trust only myself and take responsibility for the outcome over bearing the risk of trusting others. When I came back to that rule, I was trusting Rikako-san as openly as I had so far. That was the exception for me. It made more sense to doubt her. And so, I said it. I can't say I trust Rikako-san at this point in time. Take the vote. Please wait. I'll use my guardian to investigate which one of them is telling the truth today, so please wait for today. Who are we supposed to kill, eh? Kamoshida or Chini? You're trying to kill me, Hassan? Haraki-san? You're kidding, right? It's alright, Haraki-sama. No, it isn't. Hey, what's going on? What's Rikako-san trying to do? We don't need any wannabe martyrs. It is alright, just as everyone says. I am suspicious. I am a human, but if you hang me, you are sure to defeat the wolves. If I can no longer serve the people of Yasumizu, then my departure from the stage shall be my final service to Yasumizu. Rikako-san. Musashi! Takumi-san shouted louder than ever before, shutting me up. If you wanted to help that woman, you should have trusted her. Her fate was sealed the moment you failed to do that. True! Excuse me. No, by not saying that, you implied your survival wasn't necessary for the humans to achieve victory. At least you didn't believe it was. The moment you couldn't deny that was the moment your choice was made. So settle this like a man. Damn it. I've never been more resentful in my adherence to my rules than I was now. I propose we hang Rikako Uematsu-san. Very well. Rikako-san smiled. Why couldn't I just trust her? We fucked up. No rope shall be necessary. As Nuimatsu and the watchman of Fujiyoshi's purification of corruption, I shall bring about my own end, with no shame to display. She said it. Rikako-san led her own funeral procession. With a sonorous voice, she sung prayer to Shinai. She bowed to the Okiba along the way as she recited prayers and sutras. No one rebuked her, for they all understood her actions were the manifestation of her faith, where she was right. And then, we reached the cliff at the hanging pine overlooking the misty Saranaga. Rikako-san turned away from us, faced the cliff, and chanted sutras. Did you just get a jump? We lay ourselves down before he who dwells in the mountain. By boon of his protection, the corrupt return to ash. The sealing of the gate of Toyomi brings prosperity again. Thus I offer homage to Shinai, the Almighty, so peace may come to pass. Her words were directed at no one. They merely faded into the mist. She clapped her hands, held them over her head, and bowed. It was similar to a Yasumizu bow, but felt more right than that. Rikako-san looked back. Farewell, and spoke only those words. Oni-chan! She paid no heed to the only voice that called out to her. Her black sleeves fluttered, and she threw herself into the mist. Jesus. Oh! After several seconds, we heard a crunching noise from down below. Don't listen. Chimmy covered Mako's ears. The little girl started to cry. Yeah, fair. This is all your fault. If you hadn't said that... No, that's wrong. This is all... What? Why? How did we let this happen? He left while muttering to himself. Masato-san, leave him be. He's still a man. A woman's death hurts. Let's go back. Bad end. We turned to the dining hall, but all of us were caught in depression. There's barely anyone who wasn't feeling the loss of Tae-san, Hard-chan, or Rikako-san in any way. Excluding the old man. We didn't know if we could expect all that much from him as the spider. Mako had cried herself to sleep and had been left in her place, while Kinosuke had returned to his mansion. Takumi-san and Kanzo-san were busy cleaning up Haru-chan. Aside from them, everyone else was here. I'll make something to cheer us all up. Kari-san said that with a forced enthusiasm. Since her sons were still alive, she was probably in a relatively better mood than the rest of us. Incidentally, I stopped helping with the cleanups in the kitchen. They said it was because they couldn't put the snake at risk out in the mist, but they were also probably being cautious of me. I just sat by myself. Chairman was talking to the boys, showing her own consideration for them to lift her spirits. It seemed she had no intention of talking to the old wolf guy. Araki-sama, may we talk? The woman who always wanted to talk was gone. They were about to die to poison. Before long, Kari-san had finished making the food. Takumi-san and Kanzo-san returned from the cleanup, and we finally had our first meal of the day. Imagine you are tired. Please eat as much as you want. Thank you. The fact that I checked my bowl for something green made me realize how ill-natured I really was. Unfortunately, that was just how I was, so I'd at least keep up my mask and effectively give them conscience of my own kind. I sat down, put my hands together, picked up the chopsticks, and ate the rice scroll. Like always, it was simply beastly yet still good. I only felt that something was wrong with it a bit later. We died. At first, I just thought that I'd burned my mouth or something. But suddenly, I couldn't feel my mouth at all, and after an unnatural sensation that overwhelmed my tongue and cheeks, I lost my sense of direction. My body twisted, and right as a dull pain went through my head, it fell to the floor. Yeah, we died. I'd been poisoned. I could understand that clearly, but all my processing power went into dealing with the unnatural feeling attacking my body. I couldn't see properly. I couldn't breathe or speak. Despite that, I still had a burning pain in my mouth and an urge to vomit, along with unbearable agony. I couldn't understand what was happening around me. It was probably pure chaos, but I was struggling to even breathe. It was only getting worse. A sudden intense impact hit my back, and my body jumped, and then I puked. Fusashi! Fusashi! My breathing stabilized for a moment, and I could hear a voice as well as see something, a wet floor of my own hands. However, the nausea didn't end. The spasms made me feel like my chest was turning inside out, and I soon puked again. Also, Kit needs to make sure he does something before he forgets. I was beyond help. I would die in just a few minutes. Once I understood and accepted that, I found myself able to think a little clearer. This was a gamble the wolves had taken. They killed outside of the feast. They were prepared to face the corruption. They poisoned the food. By doing so, they can get rid of me or someone else. It wasn't me. And they could frame the crime on Kari-san, the chef. They could also destroy the fixed majority, compromising Takumi-san, Kanzo-san, Kinosuke, Kari-san, and I. By sacrificing one of the remaining wolves, they'd gain a big reward. I see. So the wolves were that serious. I've been given a lethal dose of poison. There wasn't any hope for me at all, was there? How would I get past this? Hey, Rikako-san, this is a horrible thing to ask, but you wouldn't happen to know, would you? Crazy! It's almost like a different path would have worked! Just before my consciousness faded into the mist, I saw a hallucination of Rikako-san looking down at me with a sad smile. We died! Crazy! We died from this? Who would have expected this? Watch the hidden corner? Yeah. Also making sure that I do all the fucking shit I need to do. Sorry. You done it now for simple reasons? The fuck you mean, buddy? I currently am trying to get some shit done. Listen, I have dailies to do, buddy. And I forgot that I needed to do this. Alright, cool. This is the first time in a while you've done it now for simple reasons, Chief. Huh? You don't think it's simple? Oh, I see. It's only simple if you know how the story's supposed to go. Okay, then I'll give you a hint. Bad ending 18, poisoned by wolfsbane death. Exactly how you were poisoned is on an essential point of wit. Look forward to the climax. Now, you might be wondering how to avoid this, but you actually can't. The solution's getting treated. How do you do that, you ask? Well, just look at the scenario chart. You should figure out where it branches. If the one was a dead end here was still alive at this point, maybe things would have been different. So go back and pick the other choice, fuckface. Die another hearty death. Yeah. I just wanted to see how it goes. All right, so we're about to finish the second loop officially now that we know. So hold on. I actually want to check the key. We didn't check the key. So what is it that we actually learned? With the union of the humans, Rikaku-san's stunt, and Kaori-san's sacrifice, we finally determined who all the wolves were, but they were one step ahead of us. Through their self-destructive attack, everyone died the worst outcome. I have to aim to get the better of them in order to repay Rikaku-san for protecting me all the way to the end. So now we go back. Okay. We get 15. So this is the only one 15 goes. Open door and persuade. I suddenly opened the door. Yeah, I did it. Of course I would. I didn't want to see that ending again. Rikaku-san was crying. Her voice had been clear and composed, so I assumed that she wasn't feeling anything. I was wrong. She was merely hiding it. You promised not to open the door. I intend to keep that promise, but you both used it to make me look like a bad guy, so I changed my mind. What's with this aura? Why does it feel like you're trying to be hated because of your past just to make the backup cleaner? Is it a Fujiyoshi-ism or something? I've rejected tons of bothersome women like Chibi-chan in my life, so if it weren't for the situation, I'd be going nuts right now. I'm just about degenerate enough to decide someone like you is too rare to let go, so you should cut it out. Crap, I overdid it a bit. Well, I have no idea what you're thinking, but hearing all of that just made me value you more. Huh? I'd have loved to say that to Chibi-chan too, but that'd make me a cheater, so I'll do something else instead. I'll win her over some weird-ass hell reasoning and introduce her to a friend of mine. He's a bit more degenerate than I, but I think they'll get along. Wait, maybe Teach would be better for her. If Chibi-chan doesn't mind slightly ugly baldies, she'll have someone really loyal and... Haruhaki-sama, I do not think I understand, but why would you tell me that you like me now, of all times? Like I said, I want to play this by my own rules. I don't want someone else telling me how I should feel, even if everyone else hates something. I'll happily take it. If you want me to hate you, find a better way to go about it. You're the one who said that you love me, so you better take responsibility for that. You dumb idiot. Rikaku-san's a moron. You alive? Thump. Ah, she finally broke. What was that about? Are you a fool? Yeah, seriously, what's that about? That's my line. Anyway, enough with the personal grudges. Can we consider the bet still on? The one where we'd win if we survived and could ask the other for whatever we wanted? If we survived, we could ask for whatever we want, and I'm not planning on asking for anything that'd ruin it. You are such a strange person. Serizawa-sama was surely right to call you a bad boy. I didn't confirm nor deny that. True! Even so, hearing that from you makes me happy enough. I am satisfied. Not good enough? Well, maybe. Adult love isn't solid enough to play out through just jokes and improvisation. Then again, we adults can survive without needing anything fancy. It was a virtue as well as a vice. Please give me your answer when you survive tomorrow. You might be killed by the wolves tonight. You took a gamble and revealed yourself to protect Mako and I. If you don't wake up tomorrow, it would mean that I wasn't worthy of asking you something like this. I'll back off if it happens. Haruhaki-sama. There, I was now at key points. This tragedy-drunk heroine wouldn't die today. It would be the most unfortunate, Kaori-san. Honestly, I wasn't sure how to feel about that. But I would test it this once. At the very least, could you grant me one final gift? No, I'll survive the night with that as my goal in life. It might be imprudent of me, but it makes me happy. I was the imprudent one here. After all, I was making moves on a girl that could die tonight. Anyway, goodbye. Oh, wait, anything else? I could finally get to the main matter at hand. There's something I'd like to ask you as a night watcher. What did we ask? What did he ask? What's going on? Kaori-san's dead again. It was the day after I did the prep work. I approached the plaza, met up with Yoshitsugu-kun, acted surprised when I heard the bad news, and once again saw the remains of a poor unfortunate Kaori-san. She's dead again. And I then listened to the brothers opening up, as we did again. Saw them find the letter. Shows that the fingers were placed in the same position as last time. This had to be Chiami's idea. In this particular timeline, she didn't seem to be anything more than a bloodthirsty madwoman. I felt like she'd been the one who decided that destroying the entire body was the way to go. Mochi didn't hesitate to agree. I badly underestimated just how warped that boy's personality was. Poor Miya-san. I knew she was an enemy, but I couldn't help but feel sympathy for her. Thus began the Feast of the Yomi Purge. Yasunaga-kun presented the scenario set up by the wolves. I turned it around. Everything was about the same as last time. If I didn't change my words, things would go exactly the same way as last time. Of course they would. The people I was talking to were the exact same. Strangely enough, I also said the exact same things without relying much on memories from last time. And maybe it wasn't that strange. After all, though I had memories of the previous loop, I was the exact same person. If I'd somehow lost the memories of the final moments of the loop, I'd definitely be heading for the same ending right now. But in this case, it didn't matter. If everything was the same this time, I could just go with the flow and do the same thing as last time. After all, it was already over. That's what they were betting on, I assume. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work. Just like last time, everyone focused on Shikimochi, who had a half smile on his face. That seems really one-sided. I mean, we have no proof the House on Reach-On are what they claim they be. And just like last time, he was bringing up arguments that had already been shut down. And maybe he can actually read Remy Carey's fingers some other way. Mochi. And just like last time, Shimmy, that's enough. It's getting cringeworthy. Then, yeah. There's your shotguns. Let's kill them all! They went and did it. They drew their guns from their sleeves. I've been wondering why Mochi was in his school uniform this time, and this made me realize it was to hide the gun. The barrels and grips on them both were cut really short, probably for the same purpose. One of them was aimed in our direction, while the other was aimed at Kanzo-san, who was already charging at them. Their intense change paralyzed everyone except him and Takumi-san, who would now make a move and die to the shotgun blast. However, that didn't happen this time. The guns didn't fire anything. A moment after Shimi's expression warped with shock, Kanzo-san punched Mochi, while Takumi-san tackled Shiemi. The lightweight body was thrown backwards and hit the wall. Takumi-san quickly grabbed the shotgun, aimed it at the floor, and pulled the trigger to ignite the shell in the other chamber. Once again, the gun didn't fire. He frowned and opened it up, removed the cartridges, and threw them away along with the gun. Kanzo-san handled the situation a different way. He simply pointed Mochi's gun back at its former master. So you're a wolf. His face swollen due to the punch. He was crouching down and glaring at Kanzo-san. Bring the rope. Shit! Let me go! Let me go! Why? Damn it! Takumi-san took advantage of her staggering and pushed her down. She couldn't move at all. Things became a bit disorderly as we tied them up, but now it was relatively calm in here. What the hell was that about? Those words weren't directed to anyone, but everyone besides me related to him. These are dummies. Kanzo said that while looking at the shells in the shotgun he'd taken from Mochi. Everyone understood what that meant. The wrong ones? No way! Exactly, there was no way the cartridges she checked just yesterday were switched up in a single evening. The only one with any idea what was responsible for this paranormal phenomenon was Rokako-san. Last night I asked her to catch Chemi and have a cat fight with her. That gave me the time I needed to go into Chemi's room and mess with her equipment. A lot of it depended on luck, and I needed a couple loops, but I somehow pulled it off. You didn't see this! Hold on! You didn't see it happen! But like, okay, we had to die, and then we had to loop, and then we had to die again, and then we had to... It was a big thing. It was a big thing. I would have loved to see this, though. It wasn't fair in the least, but my life was at risk here, and I actually died, so I didn't really care. Fair point. Everyone continued to talk about how the shells were replaced, but since I decided to stay quiet, they didn't reach a conclusion. And everyone was left with the harsh truth that these two were wolves who just tried to kill everyone here. Thus, everyone began talking about how to handle them. Yasunaga-kun suggested we tie them up and lock them in somewhere. He argued that now that we knew they were wolves, all we had to do was prevent any further murders, was make them unable to move. Kanzo-san was thoroughly against that, suggesting that we instead hang them over today and tomorrow. When asked for his reasoning, he insisted that wolves had to be hanged and their argument wasn't going anywhere. Most of Kanzo-san's decisions were influenced by the legend and his own experience, so he didn't have a proper way to deal with the situation this unorthodox. Yasunaga-kun, on the other hand, was bound by conscience and emotions, making Kanzo-san's option unacceptable for him. It left me no choice but to weigh in. May I say something? Now everyone, even Kanzo-san, lended an ear to my words. It took too long for me to get to this point. Makishima-san, you believe it's important to kill only one per day and not anymore, right? Well, Yasunaga-kun just doesn't want to kill them at all. Yes, I admit it. Now that the culprits are no longer a supernatural phenomenon, I believe we should leave their judgment to the rule of law. What they did is unforgivable. We shouldn't be the ones to punish them. We only did the previous hangings because it was an emergency and we had no other choice. Since they aren't a threat to us when bound, we can just leave them like that and wait for the mist to clear. And if it doesn't, we'll be left with no choice but to consider it another emergency that requires drastic measures. The boy was talking sense, but first I'm not so sure if binding them would be effective. What do you mean? The game master here, Great Lord Shinai, can unlock our front doors. Isn't it natural to think he could undo any bindings too? That's... Also, if we only hang one each day, one human would die tonight. They have no chance of winning, but they take the skill. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's pointless. They were so easy to read. Yasunaga-kun, do you want to know why I'm so certain that they would kill? Yes, do tell. It's because these wolves are extremely cruel. I walked up to them. Remember Hisako Mamiya-san? She suddenly claimed to be the snake on the second day and began acting all strange? She was probably ordered to do that by Chiemi Serizawa. There was some noise in the room. Chiemi was still hanging her head. She probably told Mamiya-san that being a snake was safe, even though she knew that Kanzo-san was ready to hang anyone claiming to be the snake. And actually led to Tei-san, an innocent, getting hanged. You planned that, didn't you? Doesn't matter. Mamiya-san then died that night, and that was probably her doing too. Why would you think that? Because she's an outsider. She couldn't trust her, and it was possible that she'd readily betray her. It was highly likely that she would have been hanged the next day. Kanzo-san was pushing for it, after all. These two tricked Mamiya-san into being a scapegoat, so she probably didn't trust them and was afraid of them. It was completely possible that she revealed who the other wolves were during her hanging. That's why you killed her at night, and basically silenced her. That would mean that they killed two in one night. No, she was subjected to the corruption. The wolves must have rules too, and she went against them. Or rather, was made to go against them by these two. You're just guessing. Whatever. Please deny it, damn it. It's a pain, so I'll just say it. Yeah, he's completely right. Wow, Araki-san, you're so cool. Yasunaga-kun's even more soft-brained than I thought. Chiani, we had our reasons for doing what we did, and we had to keep doing it until the end, so stop with the questions. They're a pain.
Jimmy, you damn...
Please stop. I understand how you feel, but that'd be a waste of time. You can't reach an understanding with those who became wolves. So what are we doing with them? My suggestion is we cut off one's limbs and hang the other one. If we do that, the one without limbs won't be able to go around even if unbound, so we'll probably be safe. If we hang the one tomorrow, the wolves would be exterminated. The mist should clear up the day after and...
Musashi?
Yes?
What did you just say?
I'm saying we should keep one from walking around and using weapons by cutting off their limbs. Huh? What the hell was their reaction? Is there a problem with that?
You're seriously saying we should cut off Chikamochi or Chimmy's limbs?
Oh yes, wouldn't that be enough? If we remove them at the base, they couldn't even crawl, right?
You really are a fucking lunatic.
Huh? That is way too cruel. Huh? I understand they are wolves, but that is a step too far. What? Fusayuki-san, you're scary. Why? Rikaku-san, would cutting off their limbs make us targets of the corruption? I have not heard of anything that implies that. Excuse me, but aren't you the ones who hanged a couple of people just because of history and legends?
But we put him to rest.
I heard that hanging is actually a really painful way to go. Even if it wasn't, they were being lynched because of popular vote. That all alone must have been utterly terrifying. The wolves murdered so cruelly, yet you're all acting like this. You're all pretty good-natured, aren't you? Wait, that's a good thing, isn't it? Humane? I see. They all fell silent, but even I could understand that there was something within them that made them adverse to my idea. If you break their limbs instead, the effect would be the same, right? Or perhaps Osato-sensei could poison them in a way that would make the die right about tomorrow?
Stop it! I can't ensure that they would survive that. The shock from the pain alone might kill them. And I happen to be a doctor. I cannot poison. We're not like the wolves.
I see. I understand. I seem to have misunderstood you all. What now, though? I guess someone's dying tonight. This was such a pain. Why did they argue against my suggestion if they had none of their own? If it must be done, I shall take it upon myself.
No, I'll do it. Don't push yourselves. You mustn't do that. Stop it, you all. We can still think this through.
It's fine. That's enough. I'll die myself. Can you hang Mochi first? No one should get the corruption then. Wow, clear head until the end, huh? Huh? What are you planning now? I don't want to get my limbs cut off. Even wolves are afraid of some things, huh? Alright, I apologize to Haru-chan when I get to her. You're not going to the same place as her. Huh? I'm not, Richan? The hanged are saved. The ones killed by wolves are not. Want to switch? I don't care enough. It's fine. Regardless of the way, it'll be over once you die. I'll take it upon myself to kill you. Why did this have to happen? Just because? What's that supposed to mean? I don't really get it. I felt like we had no choice. Yasunaga Oribe punched Chikamochi Kamoshida. Sorry, Yasun. I really am. Sorry. I was not. Yasunaga-kun pushed him forward. A moment later, the rope went taut. It shook for a moment, then slowly swayed back and forth and finally stopped completely. Yasunaga-kun cut the rope. From the mist below, I heard the sound of something soft collapsing, then hitting the shallow water below.
You're next, Chiemi.
Alrighty. Isn't this the same as directly killing her? Who knows, Shine-san or whatever will be the judge of that, right?
You're gonna die just like that, without even saying sorry or anything?
That's kind of the girl I am, right? You knew that from the time I almost killed the brats in Kamafujiyoshi, didn't you? Well, I went on to act like a good girl after that. Fooled you good, didn't I? How's it feel? I knew what kind of guy Mochi was and kind of used it to control him. Don't get mad at him, okay? It's all my fault. Hate me all you want. Looking backwards, she stepped up to the cliff. Congrats, Rikaku-san. The obstacle's out of the way, and it looks like it's all worked out, doesn't it? That is not what the Feast of the Yomi Purge is about. We who live with the mountain have been given a burden, and we must bear and pay respects to it for all eternity. I am here to simply take in that burden. And if I'm born again, I'll come kill you directly this time. The last of the spiders, aren't you? Go some descendants, teach them whatever grand nonsense they taught you, and wait for me to come get you. There's no need to be like that. Shut up. I'll kill you now. Joking. See ya. Jimmy. What? What is God? Her peepers instantly shrunk. I knew it. You really are the scariest thing here, Haruaki-san. I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you all so much for letting me kill myself. She took 3 steps back. You have no idea how scared I was when I thought my limbs were going to get cut off. Seriously. Haruaki-san, if only we were wolves together. I don't want that. See ya. She turned around and ran as fast as possible into the mist and jumped. Rise not. I'm going. I alone turned around. Huh?
But you still haven't...
I didn't want to hear it. She'd probably fallen into a world different from ours, and I got the impression I wouldn't hear a sound. I didn't want to listen to the echoing silence. We then went on to clean up Kaori-san's body. After spacing out a bit, we all cut up some veggies and ate them uncooked. It was hard to make a fire in the mist, and as people of Fujiyoshi, no one felt like using fires other than the one in the watering hole, and everyone was averse to using the dining hall. No shit.
Thus everyone went to sleep. No, for the first time since the feast began, none of us could sleep. Morning came without us getting any rest. The mist was gone. We did it! No one had died, of course. Everything was as the legend said. With the Yomotsu Okami gone, peace came back to the human village. Let's go? However, it was hard to celebrate it. Yudai Hashimoto, Tei Yamawaki, Hisako Mamiya, Oro Makishima, the old man who cried wolf, Karo Yoribe, Chikabochi Kamashita, and Shiemi Serizawa. A whole 8 people died. Even if the 2 of them were outsiders, the settlement had suffered great losses. Everyone had an aversion to using fire to dispose of any remaining objects that carried signs of murder, so it was decided that they would be buried. The tatami, the floorboards, the futon, all of it. We also ended up making new gravestones for those we had lost. Rikako-san had told us that the graveyard near the Hanging Pine was full of the feast's victims, so there was nothing under the stones. So, has he passed away or something? Yes, it was a peaceful death. Those who died normally would be burned at the crematorium in Kamafujiyoshi, run by the Higuchi, then buried here. Those who didn't would be thrown into Saranaga and simply vanish. Making sure no one saw me, I went down to Saranaga. There was nothing. No corpses or belongings. Just like last time, Saranaga was just a thin, shallow stream. However, I did find one thing. It was a pendant with the Yomotsu Okami symbol on it. It's her necklace. She literally has a necklace of the Okami. What was this? Was someone wearing it? What did it mean for someone in Fujiyoshi to wear something like this? At this point, I didn't feel like investigating it anymore. Was that strange? No. I felt like this was just how things were. No, you know what that is. Days passed of us working on this and that. We somehow survived thanks to the food from the fields, and right as we were finishing up our work, help finally arrived. Kama Fujiyoshi sent some people to remove the landslide blocking the road, and now they'd finally made it. Are you all well? It's been a while since I saw Shoji Higuchi. He looked as friendly as always. Shoji, what took you so long? We wanted to work faster, but we had some unexplainable accidents while trying. We were only able to make progress after the mist cleared. So, is everyone all right? No one answered. Higuchi began looking sympathetic and started giving some orders to his people. Eventually, we were brought to Kamafujiyoshi and were made to spend a few days like refugees in some community center. Apparently, this was temporary. The village head said they needed time to clean up Yasumizu after the disaster. I really appreciated the 3 daily meals they gave us from the nearby watering hole, and sleeping in a place without any mist at all was pleasant. The food was strangely fancy, and the people bringing it seemed somewhat humble. They'd always looked down on the people of Yasumizu, but now that we'd stopped the Yomi invasion, they actually revered us. This was just a guess, though, as I was still locked up in here with nothing to do. One day, I actually got to see the officer. I actually felt kind of nostalgic at this point. Oh, you're alive! That's great! This is yours, right? It's no use to us, so take it back already. My bike. The weeks of exposure to the elements had left it looking really shabby. I had nothing better to do, so I decided to clean it. We're almost done restoring Yasumizu, so you'll be able to return soon. Musashi-san, why not drive far away for a change of pace? I actually wanted to return to Yasumizu, though. When I told Takumi-san that I'd take Meiko to the police once everything was settled and then return, he told me that I didn't have to. Rikako-san said she helped me work with the fields, and he accepted it. Kanzo-san fixed his rifle and began hunting again. Yoshinaga-kun resumed going to school. Yoshitsugu-kun moved to the dorm and said he'd start going to school again, too, joining his brother. Oh, happy endings! Let's go! Kiyonosuke would, as planned, become a part-time doctor at Kamifujiyoshi's clinic. When Kanzo-san returned from our shelter, Kiyonosuke actually looked after him like a proper doctor, which was some impressive character development. Anyway, since it all seemed to be fine here, Takumi-san told me that I didn't have to return. Well, I can't say I don't have stuff for you to do, but you have a place to return to, right? I really wouldn't blame you if you didn't come back. But keep in mind that you have a woman waiting for you here. And honestly, I'm not sure I want to do nothing but farm with her. I'll be right back after I'm done with some business. I did consider returning to the life I had, but I figured I should stay here instead. Well, I guess I'll see you then. Your turn. She was hiding behind that tree? With her pale skin turned rosy, she meekly walked up to me. Meiko, stay in good health. Hey, what about me? Oh, Oni-chan, you're supposed to talk to Fusayuki-san. Fusayuki-san! Sorry, it's so good. Even she understood it. How precocious of her. Araki-sama, please stay in good health. I'd assumed that the fact that she wasn't treating this like our final meeting was a step forward, but no, I wouldn't let it fly. I hadn't survived just to say goodbye to you. Those words aren't good enough for me. Kiss, 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 kiss. Please come visit every now and then. She sure was persistent. You're being a sore loser right now, Rikako-san. We're close enough to call each other by a name. If you take just one more step forward, I might decide to do something big. There are a lot of things I wanted to give to her and take from her. I was sure I'd find happiness if we made proper exchanges. After all, there was the sole light I've ever seen in that dreadful mist. I wouldn't give up on it, no matter what. Haraki-sama, yes? Because I would be lonely. Yes, you've been lonely your whole life. Because I love you. Yes, you weren't even allowed to love anyone. Because this is all new to me. Yes, for the first time ever you sought your own happiness. Please come back to me. No. I couldn't control myself. Whoa, showing off, huh? Guilty! Let's go, Mako! Thank you. Me. I love you, man. Characters in this game are great. Also, Mako. We protect Mako. We absolutely protect Mako. I let her go, and she looked up at me with angry eyes. She became a lot more expressive, and I found it nothing if not lovable. I would live out the rest of my life with her. This journey brought me to something unexpected, and it led to a really happy ending. I promise, once I deal with everything outside, I'll come back here. Please do. Then it'll be my turn to say something. I understand. Why didn't we get a CG? I wanted this. I shall believe and wait for you. Why didn't we get a scene? I wanted a scene. No. Did we actually get a happy ending? Barring the Higuchi's help, I got everything I needed, secured Mako behind me with the children's belt, and left Fujiyoshi. Upon arriving at the closest city, I presented her as a lost child. They asked me questions, of course. I admitted some things, but didn't lie at all. They thought I seemed shady, but I was able to prove my identity, and they let me off. Bye-bye, Fusiyuki-san. She waved all smiles. She still couldn't get my name right. This reminded me that nothing that happened to Yasumizu had drawn police attention. I had no idea who done or didn't do what to make it. Turn out like that, but I didn't care anymore. I was just the way it was. What was up with the looping business anyway? Was killing the wolves the condition for ending the loop? If that was the case, then it was caused by something that wanted the wolves to lose no matter what. No other explanation fit. Who would that be though? Great Lord Shinai? That fit the story, but it often seemed like he didn't have a horse in this race. Also, if his only way to help the humans was to give out the guardians and send me, then he was a seriously bothersome god. Would I go back in time if I died now? I didn't even care to try, not to mention that situations in which you could easily die were the abnormal ones. Also, I actually left the village this time. That made the current situation different than any so far. It was best to assume I wouldn't loop again. That was probably just the way it was. Nah, we looping still. I stayed in that city for a while and contacted certain people, telling them that I would now be a farmer in a remote village. That got me in some serious trouble, but Yasumizu got no service anyway, so it wasn't like they could do anything about it. I cut ties with my previous life in 3 days, then entered a jewelry store and bought the ring with the nicest design. It had a gem as red as her eyes, covered in gems as clear as her hair. It wasn't particularly expensive, but I felt it suited her better than any of the others. You're gonna marry Rikako? No, but what about Chiemi? Then, just as I promised, I returned to Fujiyoshi. I went to the officer, talked to Higuchi-san. Passed the mountain path. Arrived at Yasumizu. And saw something I couldn't believe. Blood! It wasn't a good ending! Why? Why was everyone dead? Everyone died? What the fuck? Why was Yasunaga Oribe dead? He survived after saying goodbye to his best friend and the girl that was like a sister at Marini? Why was Yoshitsugu Oribe dead? He made it through his mother's death, found common ground with his brother, and had his whole life ahead of him, didn't he? Why was Kanzo Makishima dead? He lost his granddaughter, protected Yasumizu, and was about to live out his twilight years in peace, wasn't he? Why was Takumi Muro dead? The likable guy had discarded his inner discord, believed in himself, and helped bring us to victory, hadn't he? Why were all their heads split open? It was supposed to be over. We ended it all. That was how it was supposed to be, right? I begged. Hoped that someone was still alive. If no one was, what would have been the point of those sacrifices? Oh, Nosato! Found one. A survivor. What happened? He was covered in blood, and held an axe covered in blood and gray matter. The wolves are coming. No, he becomes crazy. I then went on to murder him. After all, in one of the support beams in the hall I found him in. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! Was her body hanging helplessly? What the hell? What was all this? Why had I thought that I had it all in the bag? Everything was dead. Everything was lost, and I hadn't reached an end yet. Shinasai's guardians are. The outside was shrouded in mist. 1 snake, 2 monkey, 3 crow, 4 spider, as though led by something. 5 prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. Past the empty plaza. 6 the badger runs along late with there as a fix. Went down the barren hill. Are we jumping into Saranaga? 7 the corrupt Yomibito rise to oppose the mountain. Did you come to see me? I'm so happy. Chiemi? 8 death of the damned Yomibito is the mandate. Do you believe you could escape? Fall, rise, rise again and again. 9 1 soul per day, now to bind. 10 the mist rise away again, as I threw myself into Saranaga's mist. No, Haraki-sama. I felt like I could hear her voice. Bakako-san, I couldn't fulfill my promise. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't cry for me. I couldn't make you happy. I couldn't do anything to help you feel normal happiness. I couldn't dispel the darkness of Fujiyoshi, and I couldn't even get close to the core of the mystery surrounding it. How? What could have I done here? I needed a new path. I had to find one that could lead me to the truth. That's so cool. That's so fucking cool. I mean, that's kind of insane what would happen. Oh man, we also just hit 3 hours. Let's fucking go. I got time. Let's fucking go. Anyway, that's fucking insane. Please yourself for the next phase. So we got a key. We're going to get a key from this. But like, what key? Raging Loop. Are you going to change to LOUP again? Lejing Lubu. Paradisical Babylon. What? Is that supposed to be like a paradox? Well, give me the key. Is it key 16? I'm guessing key 16 is about to unlock. Let's go! Raising Loop. 16. Okay. So 16 unlocks a lot of stuff. Ending number 2. Watch the hint corner. Yes. Once we re-loop, things will be great. Hey, Chief, and congratulations, I guess. This marks the end of the main route wit. So many ups and downs, but in the end, all the wolves were wiped out. Isn't that great? Was that too depressing? Yeah, I figured. But what can you do? There's still plenty of mysteries left even after you won the feast. So with that said, it's time for a fresh start. Prepare yourself for the next one. Ending 2, a wedding celebrated by all. This was yet another outcome you were bound to see. Be proud of yourself, Chief. So as for where you use key 16, it's actually not so obvious. Go to 4 infiltration to side arrangements. You know, the locked choice where you were talking about where the 2 journalists would sleep? Through that, Hisako Mamiya and Haruhaki Fusashi participated in the feast, changing things greatly. Aim for that next time, too. In the next true route, Darkness, that old cameraman who's died at the start of every time so far will finally join the feast. How will that change things? Though you might be getting a rather ominous feeling about the next route for the name Darkness, don't lose, Chief. But that, we're done for this time. Die another hard death next time. Let's go. Guess it was just a dream. Okay, so like, hold on. So let's first see what 16 is before we end off the stream. Let's see what 16 is, because 16 is a huge key. Raising Loop. By determining the wolves and preventing the fatal rampage, the humans safely achieved victory. The mist cleared and the feast ended. All that was left was for me to propose to the woman who loved me, or so I thought. Everything returned to ash. Yasumizu was engulfed in mist again, and it seems I looped. The basic problem remains unsolved. I must solve all the mysteries, but how? So let's check some stuff first. So if we check the start, we know we're missing. Okay, so there's 4. So 4 is what does the thing. So I just want to check. So 20 we don't have. 20 is, so either I still think 20 is Chiemi becomes aware of the loops, that, or it has something to do with that necklace, because that necklace most definitely is hers. 3, 8, 19, and 20 we do not have, but there's something to do with the outhouse. Okay. Is there anything here? Seeing if there's anything. No. Okay. So 20 is a key thing, but 3, 8, and 19? Interesting. Okay, so wit is, I think, completely done. I just want to make sure, because everything's unlocked. We got all the keys. So, like, it's weird because, like, not all the keys were needed, but... Oh, we need 20? We need 20 for something in wit. Interesting. Okay. And then infiltration. So this is going to be choosing the arrangements, because this is like just unlocking all the keys and such, because we needed the keys. 20 and 3. But now we got 16 to decide the arrangements to move on. But 20 and 3? 20 seems to be a huge key. 20 seems to be an absolutely massive key that's going to like break everything open. I still think it has something to do with Chiemi. Also, I still think, because now we have a different route, that we're going to have the journalist, but it's going to be featuring Haru. Because, like I said, Haru's up at the top, which means that she's going to be that next one that we're going to talk about. This game is so fucking sick. 1, 3, 8, 9. So we're still missing a few keys. So we're kind of getting close, it looks like. But I really enjoy this game. I really, really do. Once again, the only issues I've been having so far is the fact that, like, I think
you should have to go, like, forced to go through an entire path before you can go back and like try to unlock other keys, because that would have made all like the truth of all these a little bit different. I would also love to see the different loops of like trying to like unload the clips of Shemmy's gun and seeing like the different deaths from that. Not like doing all the different things, but like essentially doing like a cut thing of just like, we tried this and then I looped, and then we tried this and then I looped again, or something of the sort. Like that would have been pretty interesting. But I think this game is really, really good. They're, like, the scenes have been insane. A lot of shock factor. There's still a lot of questions that we don't have answered. I'm just really worried. Like, there's a lot of questions. And so once again, and I already talked about this before, but this is something that was like talked about in like in the game, like description and everything. I have to play through this entire game twice. Technically, we're going to be playing through it 4 times because I do want to do this game with Doge at some point, because I think Doge would really, really like this. But, or maybe we could do this with like the Caboodle. Caboodle might be interesting. We could try, but we have to do this game twice because then we're going to see people's inner thoughts. We might speed through a lot of it just to see the inner thoughts, but I'm hoping that that's also going to clear up some stuff. There's so much. Anyway, that's going to be it for the stream for right now, but that is not it for the stream for tonight. Can you believe it? I'm actually doing a second stream. Yes, I do realize that it's 11 o'clock at night, and I work tomorrow, and I have to be up at 7 o'clock. However, I also have like other shit I gotta do. So I got dailies I gotta get done. I got other fucking things to do. I have enough drinks and everything, but I did promise that I would do 2 streams today. I did 1000% promise that we're going to do 2 streams. I don't care if I'm going to be tired tomorrow. I only have a 6-hour shift. I don't have anything crazy that is going on. Everything should be good tomorrow. I'm pretty sure, like, work wise, that's what I'm feeling. That's my vibe. So, we are going to play some Binding of Isaac. That will happen. Give me 30, 40 minutes just to get something more to drink. Yeah, so we'll be right back. But thank you all so much for watching Raging Loop. If you want to see more Raging Loop, we're actually going to be streaming this again tomorrow. Assuming, well, depending on a few things, because I think we're going to be playing Sea of Thieves as well. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching Raging Loop. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, and or evening. Of course, my name is Kitafi. I'll see you all next time for some more Ready Gaming. See you all in a bit. Peace. Bye, everyone.